It's a great day at the Academy of Extraordinary Abilities, and while everyone else is stressed about their future, Ning Feng is glued to his phone, frantically gaming and asking when his opponents will surrender. In the game, he's extraordinary in real life. Well, that's debatable. This walking loser keeps playing, saying that with such an advantage, it's impossible for him to lose. But suddenly, a girl smacks him right in the face, and he wonders what the hell just happened. It's Wong Yu, guys, and she's furious. She yells at this fool, asking what he thinks he's doing when the awakening exam is literally about to start. As a friend, shouldn't you be preparing instead of gaming? Ning Feng grins like an idiot, asking if work and play aren't a great combination. Besides, he's already 18. At best, he'll awaken some common 2-star class, so why even try when Wong Yu awakened a 5-star class at 16? She could just carry him. She immediately grabs him by the collar, saying there's no way she'll do that. Around them, other candidates mutter about Wong Yu being their school's goddess, praising her outstanding performance. In the special training, more students gather around admiring how she awakened a 5-star class at 16. The county has been waiting for a genius like her, but everyone wonders who the hell that pathetic guy next to her is. One candidate explains that he's Ning Feng, the school's official trash, who's about to turn 18 and still hasn't awakened. Nothing. Wong Yu starts dragging him by the ear towards the exam entrance, while other candidates get angry that someone like her is hanging out with that waste of space. This world is called Blue Star, where video games merged with reality. Everyone gets a chance to awaken extraordinary abilities at 16 and become adventurers. This is the National Adventurer Awakening Exam at the high school number 7 of the city. A supervisor addresses the second-year students, explaining the exam rules, before shouting that the next one to awaken could be any of them. Ning Feng, bummed out by Wong Yu's beatdown, wonders why she's making such a big fuss. Since this is his 3rd time taking this damn exam, he's not a rookie anymore. In the exam section, Teacher Chi calls the students to the awakening test area. The students who successfully awaken can take basic gear and prepare for the practical test, while the candidates chat excitedly about their dream classes. Ning Feng remains bored until Chi calls the next 3rd-year student, Ning Feng. He steps forward and everyone starts laughing. The teacher greets him with a smile, telling him not to worry and to stay calm. In the testing area, she asks him to place his hands on the crystal and relax his mind. He does, but nothing happens. He wonders if he's going to fail this time too. But then something strange happens. The crystal starts to react and everyone is shocked. Chi thinks that if the stone reacted, it's definitely a class awakening, and that blue light means magic classes. She explains that upon awakening, you automatically learn initial skills, and they will see how many stars the class gets. Feng is surprised when the system tells him that he awakened 1 star and learned the mud swamp technique. The teacher asks what ability he awakened, but he remains silent. She calls him again, and he turns around not knowing what to say. She thinks he got an ability as useless as he is. She hands him some gear and tells him to get changed and go to the next phase, but this is where it gets interesting, guys. Fen starts thinking about the system notifications when he woke up. The system detected that he completed the awakening and met the conditions for the system's activation. More notifications came in saying the system was successfully activated and that he acquired passive skills called Dark Origin and Mysterious Gift. Dark Origin means he suffers no recoil from dark forces when using curses, and gets a cost reduction when using forbidden spells. A Mysterious Gift allows him to unleash forbidden spells once a week without any consumption, but only he can see these things. He wonders why the Dark Force, which is apparently the most malevolent thing in the world, and what's so mysterious about the gift, would have anything to do with him. Then another notification appears saying that the mud swamp technique had detected something and the transformation will begin in the portal. The teacher explains that 50 people form a group to face monsters in the sanctuary and familiarize themselves with their newly awakened abilities. There's no teamwork, no attacking each other. Drones are monitoring everything and asks everyone to check their abilities quickly, assuring them that no one will see. Feng sees that his ability is active, the Cursed Magic Earth Shield, which can summon a dark force from another world to form a barrier capable of crushing any enemy that approaches. He thinks that cursed magic sounds dangerous, and if it's malevolent, He'll be in trouble if anyone finds out. Everyone enters the portal in the testing area. People are fighting against monsters, and our boy, once again, is being useless, hiding behind a bush. He wanted to use his powers, but he remembers that the drones are watching, so he can't use them recklessly. The problem is, he has no other attacks, so he'll have to hide and wait. A drone hovers right above Feng. In the monitoring room, Captain Shou gets angry, seeing the footage, saying, "Asterisk, while the others are killing monsters and leveling up, what the hell is that guy doing?" Asterisk. Team G tries to be nice, saying the young man awakened late. His health isn't good and his skills are trash, which isn't suitable for individual combat. This irritates the captain even more. He says they should have never let trash like him participate in the first place. He's just a 1-star and will never be a real adventurer. But then someone approaches asking him to look at something. Joe turns around asking what's going on. The guy with glasses is sweating, saying he wasn't sure what happened. But one of the drones was attacked and the transmission was cut off. To make matters worse, he points at the radar saying that a monitoring alert detected a power fluctuation far above average in the sanctuary. Captain Shou yells, ordering someone to check what's happening. At the drone's crash site, a young man is trembling, saying, "Asterisk, how can there be such strong monsters in the training ground?" Asterisk. In front of him is a huge goblin that looks like Wolverine. This goblin shouts to its companions to rise up and be slaves no more, ordering them to obey its commands. As it's shouting, a drone approaches, but the goblin notices it immediately and attacks, destroying it. Debris falls in the forest and a piece lands directly on Feng's head. He wonders why a drone would fall on his head. But then he notices the Vanguard Goblin and other goblins surrounding the Vanguard Goblin. He laughs with a sinister look, saying, "It seems there was a bug hiding there." He orders an attack without wasting any time. Our boy thinks, "Oh, why are there so many of these damn greenies here?" Then he remembered that the drone is gone. That means he can go all out, and this would be a great opportunity to test if the forbidden spell is real. He raises his finger, and as he does, an incredible energy emanates from his body, frightening the monsters and worrying the goblin leader. Just then, several terrifying creatures rise from the ground. Back in the supervision room, Four Eyes informs Captain Joe that all transmissions were lost, and suddenly there is a dark force leak in the sanctuary. It is suspected that a king-level or higher magic beast has appeared. Joe immediately orders reinforcements and the evacuation of civilians. This horrifies Teacher Chi. How could a king-level beast, with the power to destroy entire cities, appear on the day of the exam? Back in the battle, the goblin leader is terrified by what he is witnessing. While the protagonist is consumed by that skill, a strange dark power envelops him, making his creatures shred goblins. Feng looks at his hands thinking, so this is how cursed magic works. He killed almost all the goblins instantly, gaining tons of experience points, and now only the big bastard was still alive, and things were not looking good for him. The aura of Feng's spell had left him stunned. He was standing there wondering how a human got the power of darkness. He tries to flee, but feels his movements becoming extremely slow. Too late, the power reaches him and, screaming, he begs for it not to come closer. In the next moment, he was turned into 6,000 experience points. Feng's status window appears, showing that he is now officially of the mage class. Thanks to his little monster beatdown, he jumped from level 1 to level 10. He currently has 0 health, 8 strength, 8 agility, 20 spirit, and 12 stamina. Our boy is happier than ever because he leveled up so easily. In previous years' practical exams, people could only go up 1 or 2 levels at most, but then reality hits him in his stupid face. The experience from normal monsters was quite poor, and he only leveled up so much because of that giant goblin. Still trying to process his luck, he wonders how the hell an elite monster even appeared in an exam area. Did someone screw up big time? While he is thinking about this, in the aftermath, different items start falling from the sky. Surprised, he realizes it is the loot dropped by the elite monster, and even better, all of that equipment is orange grade. Looking at the Vanguard's insignia, he finds it strange, because he has never seen a piece of gear that actually makes you permanently stronger. This orange grade item increases agility by 10 forever. Another drop, the Assassin's Shadowy Claw. It is also orange grade, but requires level 20 to use. It gives 13 extra strength, 16 agility, 10% attack speed, 5% critical rate, and 10% combo chance. Basically enough power to make him less pathetic. Feng is excited about his loot, even though he can't use the claw yet, but hey, he could sell that stuff for a good amount of money. Feeling confident, he now believes he can finally take on tougher monsters and start to climb out of his loser status. Just as he's planning his ascent from the trash tier, the supervisors announce that all students must immediately leave the trial and use teleportation scrolls to get out. Looking more carefully, he notices something that makes his blood run cold. Feng looks around in all directions, realizing that everything around him looks like a battlefield. Those big holes scattered everywhere, yep, that's the work of his dark magic, and it's super scary. The supervisors make another announcement, and he immediately uses his teleportation scroll, thinking it's better to get out before anyone finds out what happened. One by one, the students return. A supervisor immediately tells them to leave the area and go home as the participants return. The captain thinks seriously about what happened. He knows that even if he called for all possible reinforcements, they couldn't defeat that king-level beast, and given the situation, support might not even arrive in time. But before he could think about it, something even crazier happens. The source of dark energy just vanishes. This makes him very suspicious. Did the monster escape? Chris keeps getting orders on his radio saying this disaster has gotten out of control and that no one should panic. They must prevent large-scale panic and secure the school, leaving only one exit for a quick escape. Feng's stroll is over. Calling the teacher, she's sweating buckets from the stress, asking if he's okay without caring about the chaos. He says he's fine, but she yells at him to go home immediately. The school is temporarily closed and he shouldn't come back unless it's absolutely necessary. Far from the school, Feng and Wong Yu are talking. Wong Yu tells him the teacher seemed really strange, as if they had faced something deadly. Rumors say an unknown energy was found inside the school and that the whole place has been secured. This makes Feng wonder if that unknown energy has something to do with his fight against the elite monster. Bummed out, he thinks that just when he finally got something good, the school closes. Wong Yu worries about him, thinking that everything that happened really affected him. She tries to cheer him up, saying that defensive magic can keep him alive, but it's not good for training solo. Starting tomorrow, she says, he'll join her team. Trying to act tough, he says no thanks, telling her not to worry because he can train on his own with a goofy expression. He imagines himself looking awesome with his new power, but at the same time, he knows he can't let anyone find out about his forbidden dark magic. Well, Wong Yu looks at him thinking, what's gotten into this dude? She tells him she won't take no for an answer. Tomorrow morning at 8, they'll be waiting for him at the west gate. With that, she leaves, leaving him talking to himself. Feng thinks that woman acts like she's his boss, or something with that bossy attitude. He thinks he should pretend to be sick. Asterisk, asterisk. Man, look at his face. I'm dying. But he quickly decides against it. He knows that if he makes an excuse and she finds out, she'll just beat him up again. While thinking about this, he gets an idea, but he's not sure if it will work. Feng decides to head to the Wancheng trading house. Looking at the huge building, he thinks that some weapons come with built-in skills. He could buy equipment with the swamp spell and pretend to be an ordinary mage. Feng enters the shop, hoping the system won't turn the equipment's built-in skills into curses. Besides, he can sell the loot from the monsters he killed. A saleswoman approaches, asking how she can help. He says he'd like to buy equipment with the swamp spell, either a weapon, clothing, or an accessory. She asks him if he's a newly awakened student and explains that in reality, low-level spells aren't worth specifically buying for. However, they have high-level equipment better suited for training, and she could show him some options. He simply says that's not necessary, since he needs something temporary and the quality of the equipment doesn't need to be very high. Then she does the most typical thing ever. Thinking our guy is broke, she calls the new apprentice to take care of him and leaves, saying that after all that fuss, it seems he's just a poor kid, so she won't even bother. This new girl has a radiant smile on her face and none of that nasty attitude. She asks our guy if he needs anything. He explains what he's looking for, she takes him to the items, and he starts trying them out. First, an iron arm that gets him excited. Then a heavy hammer he can't even lift off the ground. On the floor, Feng tries on a ring and decides to keep it. The apprentice asks if he's happy with the ring. He laughs and says it's perfect, thanking her for helping him the whole time. Feng also asks if it's possible to sell the items he got from monsters. She says yes and that she'll take him to the right department. They enter the room and the owner is sitting there with that face you already know, the one that just makes you want to punch it, even though he's literally done nothing wrong. The apprentice tells him that Feng wanted to sell some items. He takes out the claws and asks for help checking the item and its value. Juan takes the claws and is surprised that it's an orange quality weapon, focused on speed, and doesn't require a high level, which makes it perfect for beginners. Also, it has 3 gem slots, which allows for adjustments, customized to create more personal effects. Juan says it's a good item and thinks that several clients from his guild would be interested. He asks if Feng has any specific price expectation. Feng simply says the higher, the better. The expert asks Feng to sit down, saying he'll make some calls to potential buyers, and asks Miss Yang to attend to him. Then, he calls a rich guy named Mr. Yang and tells him about the equipment. While our guy was relaxing and drinking tea in the waiting room, the expert returns, telling him the equipment has been sold and that the buyer is willing to pay 50,000 crystals. After deducting the 8% transaction fee, he would get 46,000 crystals. This leaves Feng and Yang speechless. They both stand up, still surprised by the news. Juan says they can finish the paperwork right there, and once everything is ready, the crystal transfer will be quick. He asks for it to be done quickly and requests to see more equipment while the final preparations are being made. In another section, the staff is talking and a girl asks the one who rejected Feng if she doesn't like handsome men and why she ignored him. She says she likes handsome men with money and power, and that guy didn't even deserve to be in the same place as her. Some time passes, and from a distance, the staff notices that Feng returns, and they ask if he was the client. She refused to help. The one with her hair tied up says she heard that the young man sold a piece of equipment for 50,000 crystals. The black-haired girl is shocked, saying that amount is equal to 3 months of her salary. She starts to regret it, wondering why she wasn't the one who helped him. Outside, Miss Yang tells Feng that the next time he comes, he should look for her directly, and with a smile, she introduces herself, saying her name is Yang Shen. The next day, Feng heads to his meeting with Wong Yu, feeling a bit more confident after discovering that the enchantments on his equipment don't trigger the system. When he arrives, Yu is already there, along with her whole damn guild. She introduces him, but the mage and the shield warrior stare him down. Confused by their glares, he wonders if he owes them money or something. Then, Xiao Chong appears and casually asks Yu if she's about to reach her second transformation. Feng learns that you transcend every 30 levels, which means that Yu is probably close to level 60. Chong, trying way too hard to impress, pulls out an advanced agility potion, something incredibly rare and worth more than most people's lives. Turns out his dad had to pull some strings and spend a ton of money just to get it. Yu, however, rejects it immediately, telling him to keep it. She doesn't need it and they have more important priorities. Chong is left stunned, pressing her about university admissions. Instead of listening, she suddenly turns her attention to Feng and asks her why she's wasting time with trash. At that moment, Yu's entire vibe changes. She looks at him and tells him to watch his mouth, but that idiot doesn't get the hint and keeps disrespecting our boy. Shu tries to calm the idiot down, saying they should get going, but this bastard doesn't listen, saying that Feng barely has enough money to buy a basic potion. Feng scoffs at Xiao Chong, saying it's just a potion that boosts 3 measly attributes, so he should stop showing off. This enrages Xiao Chong, and he asks how Feng dares to speak to him like that. The shield warrior steps in, saying that Xiao Chong was talking too loudly, and asks if by any chance Feng has something more powerful. Chong starts smirking as he says that if Feng proves he has such an item, he'll kneel immediately. However, if he can't prove it, Feng will kneel and slam his head on the ground. At that moment, Feng takes out his item, telling Xiao Chong to get ready. He asks Wong Yu to take it, since it was meant to be her gift. Surprised, she asks if it's the Pioneer's Emblem, an item that permanently increases attributes. She's never seen anything like it, leaving everyone there astonished and wondering how an item that permanently increases attributes by more than 10 can even exist. They think it must be a fake. Feng simply says that, fake or not, she should just try it and find out. Looking at the item, she hesitates, unsure whether to take it or not, but he reassures her, telling her not to worry, because he found the item in his house, and it was meant for her. He yells for her to use it quickly, since everyone there is dying to see what happens. She uses the item and says that, indeed, her attributes have increased. Meanwhile, the shield warrior and Xiao Chong can't believe their eyes. This poor kid just pulled out a piece of gear worth more than their allowance. Chong suggests that Feng probably stole it, because there's no way a loser like him could afford something so expensive. Feng says he better keep his promise immediately. Xiao Chong refuses, but Wong Yu asks him if he's not a man and if he's going to back out like a coward. He looks around hoping someone will help him, but everyone looks at him with contempt, as if to say, "You made the bet. Now honor it." Then he starts to kneel. Feng tells Wong Yu it's time to go. On the way, she tries to apologize, but Feng interrupts her, asking her to stop, because their relationship doesn't need that kind of thing. He says he doesn't really need her to accompany him, he'd rather she focused on her second transformation and got into the best university. Because with her by his side, he can't train efficiently. Plus, he has dark magic secrets to hide. Worried about Feng, she asks him not to be discouraged and hands him a book, saying it's for him. Not quite understanding what it is, he asks if it's a skill book. She says yes, and that when he reaches the right level, he should learn those skills. Feng asks if they are all purple, quality, and judging by their appearance, if they are all very expensive. She replies that they don't come close to the value of the item he gave her. He smiles and closes the book, saying he'll accept it. The scene changes to a cursed dungeon. A cursed one, where Yu is fighting zombies and our boy is doing what he does best, being useless. He thinks about how the monsters in this place don't give much experience, since he's already at level 10, but he can't tell her. Right after that, he gets a call from the guys from before. The pink-haired girl tells him they have news that a fallen necromancer is about to appear. She says it's a rare opportunity and asks if he will join. Then, Xiao Chong notices that Shu is talking to Wong Yu and insists that she has to go help them, or else how are they going to defeat the boss? He also adds that the fallen necromancer might drop rare items for mages, which is super important for him. She tries to downplay it so Wong Yu doesn't hear all that nonsense. Wong Yu thinks for a moment and looks at Feng, who tells her to go and assures her that everything is fine. After all, they are all in the same dungeon, and she can continue training later. She takes a deep breath, says it's okay, but asks Feng to go to the safe area and wait for her. He smiles and agrees as she quickly heads towards her group. And this is the moment this bastard was waiting for. Now that he was alone, he would go deeper into the dungeon, and he was already prepared for it. He had learned 2 new skills. In any case, they can all be used once for free. So it's better to have as many curses as possible. The system notifies him that his mysterious passive skill, Gift, will allow him to cast forbidden spells once a week without any consumption. Feng starts to stretch, saying that at his current level he only has 3 skill slots, and that the skill books he got can only be used after level 15. At the same time, in another part of this cursed dungeon, another group was fighting the monsters when someone said they had to kill everything on the way to get there. He asks them to be careful, as the difficulty is high and the monsters inside are very dangerous. As he says this, a huge flame passes right in front of them. The priestess asks if a team of adventurers is already ahead of them. The tank is confused, asking how that's possible. That's when they realize it's Wong Yu and Xiao Chong from the Lion Guild. Even at a national level, they are considered new talents, truly deserving of their reputation. On the battlefield, that bastard Xiao Chong shouts that the boss is definitely his, and asks if those fools think they can compete with him. Shu asks the berserker if he noticed that Yu had gotten stronger, and he definitely did, especially since his agility increased by 10 points. Meanwhile, in the main tower of this damn dungeon, a portal begins to form. It's Feng laughing, saying that it seems this skill isn't just a high-level magic ban, but also a teleportation skill. At that moment, a serious dark aura begins to form, and the dungeon boss, the fallen necromancer, comes out of the darkness. But Feng, this idiot, just says, "Hey bro, you're late. Be professional." Nope, it turns out the necromancer wasn't in the mood for jokes, so he just summons a massive rock and attacks our boy with it. His feelings were hurt because how dared an adventurer as ugly as him to show up alone here? As he says this, Feng appears through the portal right behind the black cloak, using the path of the void. He says he doesn't want to share the loot with others. 1. He was face to face with that undead bastard when he used his meteor shower skill. 2. Summoning a bunch of space stones that finished the job for him. Not only did he kill the necromancer, but he also destroyed the tower itself, killing all the monsters around. 3. Now he was there, smiling like an idiot while the system kept announcing rewards for his monster genocide. This bastard got 50,000 experience and his level shot up to 30 in an instant. Feng walks around picking up the loot. Shiny gems, jewels, and skill books are scattered everywhere. The skill books aren't just for mages, but they're still worth enough money to make him feel rich. The dark stone items give more magic damage and life steal, which sounds broken enough to scare any healer. He also finds a necromancer's pendant that increases strength, spirit, and curse resistance, plus it makes him immune to poison. The cherry on top is the necromancer's badge, a consumable that cuts 3 health points but grants 15 spirit forever. Okay, Feng shrugs and uses it immediately because who cares about health when you can show off more spirit? The system then throws a surprise, saying a hidden item called the Necromancer's Emblem has been detected. With it, Feng could unlock rare hidden professions like Necromancer, Sorcerer, or even Mage of all elements. He's on cloud 9, since these classes are usually rare. He doesn't even think about what to choose and picks the Mage of all elements, saying that's what a real man would do. Real men, please. Real men, go melee. This idiot gets too excited and his dark magic leaks out, causing a huge commotion in the dungeon and making things difficult for Wong Yu's guild. Xiao Chong is furious because he wanted the boss's loot, but Yu yells at him to shut up, unless he wants everyone to end up roasted. Wong Yu quickly sends a message to Feng telling him to leave, but he has already snuck away to the transformation hall. The place is almost empty, and when he turns around, a woman greets him, asking if he came for the transformation quest. He says yes, and she starts taking his details while secretly judging him for becoming a mage so late at 18. She points him towards the mage sector and tells him to call her if he needs anything. He thanks her kindly as she returns to her desk, only to find Captain Joe waiting with a face that screams bad news. Joe explains that the sinister cemetery has been destroyed and the energy level could be worse than a king-level threat. The woman raises an eyebrow, asking if this is the second king-level threat in 2 days. Joe nods and says he was sent by the higher-ups to request that the Lone Shadow take action. In the transformation hall, the system offers Feng 2 options. The first is the quest for the first Necromancer transformation or obtain the quest item Blood King's Rope by entering the Phantom Realm's Labyrinth of Illusions, deadline 3 days, difficulty A class. The second option is the first transformation quest for the God of Universal Magic requirement. Obtain the sacred emblem by entering the Temple of the Sun, resplendent in the Phantom Realm. The same 3-day deadline, but the difficulty goes up to S class. Feng wonders why there are 2 options and notices that the Mage of all Elements is just a preliminary quest. Still, he decides to accept it. After choosing his quest, he decides to leave, and as he was going down, he sees that he even got an S-rank quest. Well, it's something to be expected from a hidden class. Feng says goodbye to the girl, but later discovers that she wasn't the same woman who helped him before. Meanwhile, back at the cursed dungeon, someone analyzes all that dark energy. He says it's the first time he's seen someone from the Lone Shadow and comments that their uniform is different from what he knows. Captain Joe asks him to keep quiet because the existence of that organization is a secret. He begins to explain that the members of the Lone Shadow have a hidden class that allows them to use dark power, a darkness that makes them perfect for special missions. That person is Jing, the same one who guided Feng to choose the transformation quest. But she starts to feel something strange, saying that the dark power is overwhelming. Even though it has been significantly dispelled, it still affects her. Count Jin explains to the two of them that they found no clues. In fact, it seems the responsible person disappeared after causing the damage, making it impossible to deduce their objectives. Worried about the situation, Captain Joe says there have been reports of frequent anomalies in some secret areas recently, which could indicate that a crisis is coming. He asks if there could be any connection to this problem. She replies that it's hard to say, but that she would consult with her superiors and ask for reinforcements. Joe asks if the administration is worried, considering they were going to send the famous lonely hurricane from the Lone Shadow. The guy with the glasses approaches and asks if she can confirm whether the cause of the damage is a monster. And if there is a possibility that it is, Jin interrupts him, wanting to know if he is suggesting that the cause could be someone like her, a mutant. Four Eyes' tone changes immediately, and he apologizes, saying that's not what he meant. She explains that the threat levels there have already surpassed King level, and trying to control such a massive dark power is something the human body simply could not withstand. So, he asks if it is possible for a monster abnormally powerful hidden in the city to cause a catastrophe at any moment. And this woman doesn't sugarcoat it. She just nods and says it is possible, and that is why they have to find that bastard as soon as possible. Meanwhile, the idiot in question is resting in the room looking outside. He says the darkness is strangely comforting. Importantly, now that he reached level 30 and got 4 more skill slots, he could finally use the 2 books Wong Yu gave him. A system message appears, notifying him that the potential detected fusion of the arcane shield with the impure earth shell was automatically executed. He got a new passive skill, called Impure Earth Defense. The system informs him that his new passive skill will activate automatically when he is attacked, absorbing 100% of the damage. The system chimes again, this time fusing the impure earth shell with meteor shower, and as a result, he gets another passive skill, Elemental Earth Mastery, which makes all his earth spells hit 20% harder. Looking at his skills, he sees 4 empty slots, so he decides to buy more books at the Wancheng trading market. When morning comes, he heads out. Inside the market, he bumps into the receptionist from before. She greets him with a fake smile and says that Miss Yang Xin is busy, so she will help him. Feng says no thanks, he will look on his own. She gets furious and calls him less of a man for rejecting her charm. She runs after him, insisting she can still help him, when suddenly Xin appears sweating and out of breath. She explains that she was just having lunch when her colleague told her he was there. Feng apologizes and promises to take her to dinner later to make up for it. Later, in Wong's office, Feng places 2 books on the desk and says he wants to buy mage skills. Wong agrees and tells Xin to guide him. Wong finds Feng more and more interesting since the last time he took an orange weapon, and now he is buying purple skill books. He decides Feng might be worth investigating. That night, Feng and Xin go out to eat, and when they try to pay the bill, my girl is already 2 steps ahead. She has already covered it. He feels awkward since he had promised to treat her, but she says she had her own reason for inviting him. She smiles and calls it a secret before leaving in a taxi. In the taxi, the driver asks where to, and she replies, Municipal Hospital number 2. She thinks about her sick father and feels relieved that she can finally pay his bills thanks to Feng. Just then, the driver hits something. A claw pierces through his chest. A portal opens up above and monsters begin to pour out. Xin jumps out of the car, hitting the ground hard, and looks up. Confused about how monsters could appear inside the safe zone, Xin freezes when she feels a monster's breath behind her. Another figure emerges from the portal glowing with an insane energy and smiling in a way that screams nothing good is about to happen. She launches a weak attack that explodes, but it only enrages the monster more. She sighs because she is just a level 1 mage. A 1-star rating. The monster charges, and just when she thinks it is all over, Sho appears and cuts its head off. He checks if she can move and tells her to hide. Joe studies the area and sees the rot spreading everywhere. He mutters that the secret realm is leaking into reality, and that ordinary one-star people will be annihilated instantly. He remembers the nerd with glasses warning about a hidden monster that could destroy everything. At that moment, a massive hand crashes down from above. Joe dodges and faces a figure. Creepy figure who introduces himself as the guardian of the power of darkness. Joe has never heard of him and honestly does not care, since staying alive is the bigger problem. He brandishes his sword but gets hit, sending him flying across the field. The Watcher taunts him, saying this land makes him stronger. He hits Chu again, leaving blood everywhere. But then a voice from his amulet calls him a weak idiot drowned in vanity. He panics and apologizes. A rift opens above his head, and some kind of hollow, second-rate creature appears. Through it, this bastard wants him to kneel and sacrifice the entire city for his domain. That is when our guy comes out. He looks confused, as if he just got out of the bathroom and missed the whole apocalypse. A monster sees him and lunges, but he uses his Earth Spike skill and takes care of it instantly. He boasts that the new weapon with a purple skill was worth it. On the other side of the room, that bastard from before lets go of Shou, and turns to Feng, calling him the last bug he has to take care of. He attacks, but is surprised when Feng blocks it with a strange dark energy. The entity from above gets curious, fascinated by the terrifying aura emanating from Feng. It says the aura our guy was releasing was stronger than death itself. Feng narrows his eyes and shatters the shell on that bastard's arm. He begs his leader to help him, but is ignored. He tells him to solve his problems alone. Then he slips back into the portal, dragging his monsters with him until the rift finally closes. Now, he is already on the ground, saying his power is fading fast. Feng sees him, and that evil grin appears on his face. He realizes the guy is one of those shadow-class mutants. They start off strong, but once the shadow shield is gone, they fall apart. First, Feng is not in the mood to take care of anyone, so he uses Earth Spikes and finishes him off. He mutters that shadow freaks are annoying. Now he has to collect all that shiny loot before someone else shows up and claims it. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Jin and his assistant are doing the post-apocalyptic cleanup round. The assistant says, "Good news, the monsters are gone and the reality distortions have disappeared." But Jin has that detective brain working overtime. He wonders why these distortions keep popping up randomly. What's the enemy's ultimate goal here? Turns out most of the city is fine, except for the south side, where Captain Shou's squad was completely wiped out. Jin decides to go check it out at the crime scene. We meet Duan, this mysterious guy who's examining the guard's corpse. The guy thinks, damn, this corpse is clean. Someone already looted everything. Then Jin shows up shouting, "Stop, who are you?" Duan says, "Calm down, lady," and shows his ID. Turns out he's from Cloud Realm, an unofficial fighter organization. In the end, Jin says, "Wait, aren't you guys the secret ninja type? Why are you here in broad daylight?" Duan points at the corpse and says that guy used to be one of their members, but he betrayed them. He helped the monsters invade through reality distortions and killed almost everyone. Jin asks if killing him stopped the invasion, but Duan says no, and that they don't even know who did it. He explains that this entity is basically the master of hide and seek, always escaping when he tries to hunt it. The fact that someone defeated his ex-comrade when even Captain Shou, who's apparently over level 90, was completely destroyed, makes them both wonder if there's some secret power player hiding in their city. Back at Feng's house, our boy is looking at the loot he got from that bastard. He got 2 pieces of orange armor, the Eternal Radiance chestplate and pants, both requiring level 120. Feng thinks, weird, the Guardian wasn't wearing them, he probably wasn't high enough level. If he had, I would have needed to use forbidden techniques to win, but here's where it gets creepy. There's a mysterious pendant with no quality rating and with all unknown stats. Sick. Feng toys with it between his fingers, wondering if some ancient god is resting inside. What he doesn't know is that something is watching him through it. Cut to the distortion entity having a panic attack somewhere else, screaming about how it barely escaped and closed the distortion in time. This thing is watching Feng through the pendant having flashbacks, terrified that our boy can somehow sense the entity. It literally cuts all connections and starts sweating bullets, wondering how Feng detected it. The next day, at the hospital, Captain Cho tells Jin about this mysterious young fighter who saved everyone. Apparently, as soon as the enemy saw this guy, it immediately fled through a distortion portal. Jin thinks this mysterious person could be as strong as her, which confuses everyone as to why she couldn't catch the entity. Then, the guy with glasses throws out his theory saying, what if the mystery fighter is also a mutant? Because there were traces of dark power at the battle scene. Jin immediately dismisses it, saying, that's impossible, you're overthinking it. But Jin is left wondering, what if he is? Meanwhile, somewhere else, our boy walks up and tells the guards he wants to do the job change quest. So, Feng enters what's supposed to be the Temple of Radiance. He's looking around, thinking, am I even in the right place? Meanwhile, hidden in the shadows, we have Duan watching him. Earlier, at the trade market, Duan showed up asking about 4-star fighter armor sets. Wong thinks to himself, what a coincidence, we just got a call from someone selling a 4-star chest piece and pants. Duan gets serious, asking where that person is. Wong explains that the seller went to a neighboring city, and you can see the pieces clicking into place in Duan's head. This matches exactly what he's been looking for, probably his master's legacy gear. He offers to pay for information on where that guy is, which leaves Wong sweating, thinking these two are definitely working together. When Wong comes back with the details, Duan is already gone. Wong starts to panic and tells the receptionist about Feng's background. Orphan boy. Poor, dead parents, 1-star common class, basically a nobody. She says, wait, I thought he was impressive, but he's just a regular guy. Wong now has theories. How does a poor 1-star kid get 4-star gear? Even being friends with the Wong group's daughter, they didn't help him out that much. The receptionist starts imagining Duan beating up Feng, since a 4-star fighter could wreck anyone, even in their entire province. Back in the present, Duan is still watching Feng, thinking, how did this kid repel a distortion invasion when even masters were destroyed? He's convinced that either Feng has his master's gear, or someone powerful is backing him. Feng finally arrives at the temple, and Duan watches him change clothes, hoping to figure out his power level from his gear. But our boy just puts on regular student clothes. Duan thinks, is this a disguise, something he uses to blend in with the crowd? So Duan uses a mental tracking skill, basically putting a tracker on Feng without him knowing. Inside the temple, a monster tries to attack Feng and shoots an energy blast at him, and our boy just blocks it without even taking his hands out of his pockets. Duan watches? How? What was that? This guy has some kind of automatic defense. Then it gets weirder. The monsters start avoiding Feng. Duan is confused. Is this guy even normal? Eventually, Feng stops in front of a huge statue that was supposed to be the boss of this dungeon, but upon sensing his aura, the statue doesn't even move. In its mind, it's thinking, I'm a statue, just walk on by. I'm a statue, just walk on by. Even Duan is confused why the statue isn't moving. Feng says, this probably isn't the mission guide, and keeps walking. Then the real boss appears, a 6-winged angel flying in, which upon seeing Feng immediately flees. It just bolts, as if saying, I'm not dealing with this hidden boss. Feng just stands there, confused, while Duan is left mind-blown. That was the hidden boss? How did he know? The system explains that this is a first-tier S-level class change mission. Defeat the hidden boss, the 6-winged angel. So Feng reads it and says, who can handle S-level during their first class change? Meanwhile, the boss is flying away in a panic. It's thinking, this is my own domain, and yet I have to run. Just then, the sky goes crazy with lightning and thunder. Well, Feng decides he's not interested in playing cat and mouse with the angel. So he just raises his hand, summons a giant eye in the sky, and boom, calls down a massive lightning storm. The lightning destroys the 6-winged angel instantly. Feng's lightning attack was so ridiculously powerful that it didn't just kill the boss, it demolished half the temple too. Duan is just there, jaw on the floor, thinking, I've never seen destructive magic like this before. This guy is definitely stronger than my master ever was. He wonders if Feng could be one of the 8 legendary warriors. Meanwhile, our boy isn't happy with the fact that he can't level up until he completes his first transformation. So he's basically wasting experience points. At least he got the Sacred Emblem, which is a legendary item that permanently increases spirit attributes and recovery effects by 100%. Then, Feng takes out his teleportation scroll and is about to head back, when Duan comes running up saying, "Wait, wait, wait." Feng turns around with a serious face and Duan immediately gets scared, thinking, why does he look so intense? Please don't kill me. But then, an alarm starts to go off, and they both decide to get out of there first. Outside, Feng asks if Duan was following him the whole time. Duan apologizes and explains that he just wanted to confirm something, adding that Feng looks very young, so he wasn't sure what he was seeing. Then he spills his story. His master was strong, but he had to sacrifice his life to temporarily seal a distortion. The traitor escaped and has been using humans as sacrifices, trying to break the seal ever since. Feng then realizes that this traitor was at the 4th transformation level, and that if the guy hadn't shown himself, Feng would have never noticed him, but his level is still too low, and it's only a matter of time before he's discovered. Duan sweats nervously, thinking that Feng went silent to plan his murder or something. Duan thanks Feng for avenging his master and tells him that if he ever needs anything, to just call him. Feng thinks that this guy isn't weak and is a loner, so building a good relationship could be useful later on. Feng asks him not to tell anyone what happened during the mission, because he prefers to keep things under wraps. Duan promises to keep it quiet, thinking about that mysterious figure with incredible dark magic, who doesn't harm innocents and saved the entire city. Someone so strong and discreet deserves his respect. Then Feng's phone rings. It's Professor Chi, asking where he is. He says he's outside the city, but he'll be back. She says she has a few things to ask him when he gets back. Feng is confused why she called so suddenly. Cut to Jin and Chi talking. Chi explains that a student who awakened a few days ago suddenly reached the 1st transformation, and that if she hadn't been investigating, she might have missed it. But Jing says there are things that need to be cleared up. Then we have this intense meeting scene, where Jing asks if the destructive spells in the city were caused by mutants. An elder points out that she's a mutant herself, so why is she asking? He explains that mutants use the power of darkness, but they pay a price. The stronger they are, the greater the cost. They can lose their lives, their sanity, or transform into monsters. A king-level mutant would be impossible. A guy with spiky hair mocks her, saying she's losing her mind and that if a king-level mutant really existed, he'd cut off his own head and let her use it as a soccer ball. The elder says they will send an investigation team to the city, but they won't approve lone shadow reinforcements. Jane gets angry, asking if they don't trust her. Just then, her assistant bursts in with urgent news. The Temple of Radiance in Longbu was hit by destruction spells and there were injuries. Chi worries because that's the place where Feng was registered to train, and Jin just smirks, saying, this guy just got a whole lot more interesting. Meanwhile, in Longbow City, they raised their fancy magic shield as the people panicked. The guards use their best customer service voice, assuring everyone that the shield works perfectly and will keep the darkness out. Feng is sweating bullets because his little temple demolition project turned into a citywide alert. He hopes they'll tone down the paranoia so he can drive home and pretend none of this happened. But the universe has other plans. A black fissure opens above the shield, revealing a demonic face. Demons start pouring out, and one of them asks if this is the human world while looking at the giant shield. Another demon has already figured out that humans are fragile and love to hide behind their magic security blankets. The horned leader points dramatically and orders his team to give them a surprise. They start attacking and the shield begins to crack as the demons pour into the city. The guards are left clueless and everyone is thinking the same thing. How the hell did our super expensive magic defense system turn into a decorative piece? The crowd panics and starts trampling each other in true human fashion. Duan is immediately ready for action, telling Feng this looks like another high-level realm invasion. Feng asks him if it's like the Su Cheng disaster from last night. When Feng asks what they should do, Duan thinks this guy could probably handle everything by himself. So why is he asking? It must be a test. Duan tells Feng to just chill while he takes care of business. Feng thinks that with all these civilians around, maybe staying on the sidelines isn't the worst idea. The horned demon lands with his villainous laugh, and the soldiers do their best. But their arrows just bounce off, and when a brave warrior jumps on his back, he swats him so hard the poor guy must have landed straight into next week. Now, the demon starts mocking how disappointing humans are, as he approaches a terrified little girl, ready to add child slaying to his resume. But Duan blocks the attack, giving the girl time to escape and leaving the demon with a serious mix of confusion and rage. The demon gets mad that someone is ruining his massacre, but Duan just smirks and tells Feng not to worry. Duan then punched the demon so brutally that the people watching were astonished and thought he must belong to some super rare 5-star hidden class. After the demon exploded behind him, Duan calmly walked away, revealing he was level 137 and a legendary martial artist. Feng thought to himself that Duan was pretty amazing and definitely had something special after Duan took out the monster leader. All the remaining creatures started retreating back into the rift. The soldiers were shouting, "Now's our chance, counterattack!" Duan walked up to Feng asking if there was anything else he could do. And our boy gave him a big thumbs up, saying everything was fine and praising his excellent work. The people watching from afar thought that Feng must be someone important if Duan was showing him respect. Duan handed over the items dropped from the boss battle. Feng was happy because they were of legendary quality, even though he couldn't use them. He could sell them for tens of thousands of crystals on the market. People started shouting, asking if they needed anything or offering their help for whatever. Feng thought that the agility skill book would be perfect for Wong Yu and that he could sell the black shield later. Then, a priest and a warrior approached them, and someone started thanking them for saving the city. The man introduced himself as Mudong Ming, the mayor of Longbo, and asked if they weren't from around there, since they looked lost. Feng said they had only come to do some business, but they got temporarily stuck. The mayor started sweating under Feng's intense gaze, and immediately, his mind went into damage control mode, bowing and apologizing as if he had personally summoned the demons. Feng tried to calm him down, saying it wasn't his fault. In fact, it was his own mistake. The mayor turned and asked someone to bring the flight scroll he had just bought, saying he would give it to them as compensation. Feng was surprised because flight scrolls are rare items, especially in a small town like Longbo. Even though it's a one-time use item, it provides fast, long-distance travel. The mayor took the opportunity to make an awkward request. Things haven't been quiet lately, and he asked them to stay in Longbo a little longer since the city's defenses were weak. But then he put his hand on his head, saying he regretted asking because he was running out of time. Feng thought about his class change quest with a 3-day limit. If he was delayed there, he would never be able to complete his first transformation. But upon looking at the protagonist, the mayor saw that crushing look in his eyes and said it was okay. They would leave it for another time. One of the mayor's bodyguards returned saying the scroll was ready. The mayor informed Feng that this was the supreme black card from the Wancheng Trade Guild, just a small gesture of gratitude and respect. Feng was impressed, because these cards are only given to a dozen important people. They accepted the gift and expressed their thanks. The mayor asked that if Longbo was ever in danger, they could ask for their help. Feng replied that he would go and help as long as he had time. They immediately used the scroll and flew away. Meanwhile, back in the city of Shinjuku, Wong Yu's guildmates were chatting after leaving the class change room. Yu saw 2 people flying above and thought that one might be Feng. Yao laughed, saying how could a nobody who just awakened afford a flight scroll that was worth thousands? Then Yu turned around with murderous eyes, warning him that talking trash about Feng again would end badly for him. Yu tried to redirect the conversation, asking about their quests. Da Xiao told him that he could only get an A-class one, but not the gold level, the one everyone wants. Everyone was inflating the ego of Yao for completing her second transformation at 18, calling it college material. When they asked Yu about her mission, she remained silent, making everyone think she had done poorly. The Berserker wondered if she got C rank or worse, while Yao secretly thought that even the Golden Girl had bad days. Then, she told everyone she got S-class. Upon saying it, the room went silent, everyone staring at her. Shu asked why she kept it a secret. Yu explained that her case was different because the mission unlocked a hidden class she had never heard of. Yao was shocked, wondering how that could be possible, since classes are normally determined upon awakening. She had never heard of unlocking a hidden class during a class change, thinking Yu must be mistaken. But Yu began to recall, when she was in the class change field, the system told her that the class progression detected that she had the key item, the Vanguard's Emblem, which could advance her original profession of Swift Archer to Vanguard's Shadow, and that her class change mission would also change. And then, a system window appeared, asking if she wanted to change her class. She is surprised, thinking about how that emblem was a gift from Feng. Recalling, she thinks about how confident he was when he gave it to her, wondering if maybe he knew about the item's power from the beginning. She accepted the mission immediately and thanked him for the gift. After explaining what happened during her mission selection, Shu gets upset that she was so hasty. Yao starts yelling, asking what the hell Vanguard's Shadow is, since she has never heard of it, suggesting that maybe the class change system was broken, and that if she made the wrong choice, it could ruin her entire life. The Berserker says he's jealous, wondering how someone can have a hidden profession of 5 stars and still advance. Shu says he also wanted a childhood friend like Feng. Hearing all this, Yao gets furious, thinking she needs to send someone to find an emblem too, regardless of the cost or danger. Meanwhile, Feng grabs his sacred emblem, which permanently grants him 5 additional points of health and spirit. He laughs, saying that not only did his attributes increase significantly, but he also got new passive skills, wondering how far he can push his control over forbidden spells. The system tells him he acquired the passive skill, Mastery of Darkness. His control over the power of darkness increased enormously, allowing him to manipulate forbidden spells with precision. Outside, Dwayne is still waiting when Jing appears. She looks at him and thinks, wow, this guy is young, but he already has terrifying power. Even in the whole country, he would be near the top. Still, every time her team saw him, he walked one step behind Feng. Jing murmurs to Qi that Feng's student is not someone who can be pushed around. Then she lets it go and says it's fine, she'll let Qi handle this mess. Qi nods and says she'll talk to Feng. In her mind, she's sure he could never be her enemy. Meanwhile, Feng and Duan are strolling and chatting when she calls out to them. Feng asks if she wanted to talk. She says yes. Duan calls him boss, which startles Feng. Qi looks confused, and Feng quickly says, "Don't mind him, Duan is just kidding." Qi suddenly asks him. Feng, seeing she's figured out he finished his first transformation, freezes. He didn't plan on hiding it forever, but wow, that was fast. Still, he trusts Qi more than most, so he admits it's true and says he wants only a few people to know. She follows up with another question, asking if he's been touched by the power of darkness. Feng almost chokes. He wonders how she guessed, but she explains that the world is changing, that secret realms are leaking into reality, and that people are mutating. Feng says that's all well and good, but he's not a mutant, and he really doesn't want to join that club. Qi pulls out a crystal detector, asking him to inject energy to check his darkness levels. It's basically a fantasy drug test, and Feng sweats bullets. He touches the crystal, and the damn thing explodes the moment he touches it. She starts trembling, remembering her conversation with Jin, where Jin explained that it was a black crystal highly sensitive to the power of darkness, frequently used by the government to detect mutants. When there's power of darkness, the crystal vibrates. The stronger the vibrations, the greater the amount of dark power. Looking at the shattered crystal in her hand, she wonders what it means for it to explode like that. Feng begins to explain how awakening and immediately changing class is super rare, but he plays the "you've known me my whole life" card, asking Qi to at least believe he's not completely crazy. She thinks about how this kid lost his parents when he was young, awakened later than everyone else, and still maintains his optimistic attitude. She explains that she personally trusts him, but protocol requires her to report to her superiors. So Feng gets it. But he also thinks that even though she says she trusts him, he has no idea how the authorities will react to his situation. His best option here is to get out of Shinjuku City. Qi takes out a shiny object, making Feng ask what it was. She explains it's a congratulatory gift for successfully completing his first class change. Feng gratefully accepts it, thanking her for all the years she's looked after him. But Feng has a gift of his own, pulling out the legendary grade Sacred Wings, basically a divine item with over 20 spirit points, 50% more healing, and 100% dark resistance. The synergy effect alone could save lives in critical moments. Chi's jaw drops because this thing is incredibly valuable. But Feng insists it was just random loot from his class, change, quest, telling her to accept it without being shy. After handing it over, Feng leaves, saying his friend is waiting for him. The teacher watches him leave, probably wondering what the hell just happened. Chi heads off to report everything to the Adventurer Examiner Office too. After explaining the whole situation, Jin looks at the crystal, saying he's never seen anything like it. When Chi asks if their superiors might consider Feng a threat, Jin just sighs and says to drop it completely. Chi is confused, asking what he means. Jin drops some wisdom. The kid is probably beyond their comprehension, and if he's truly powerful, they should recruit him instead of investigating and unnecessarily pissing him off. When asked about reporting it, Jin says absolutely not, to stop the investigation immediately and keep everything classified. Meanwhile, back at Feng's house, Fedwan notices that his boss, Feng, seems down. He collapses on the sofa, explaining that the teacher sent him a message about canceling the investigation. When Duan asks if that's not good news, Feng is worried about the future of his training, since every time he destroys a domain, it attracts too much attention. Duan thinks that being a great leader brings problems that normal people can't imagine. Then he gets an idea. What about training in unregistered domains? 2. Feng immediately perks up. Duan explains that with all the changes in the world, new domains are appearing everywhere, some unmanaged due to lack of resources, others occupied by evil forces. 1. Feng gets excited, asking if Duan has information about these domains. 2. Duan confirms he has information on 2 of them and can find more if needed, so now our boy is thinking about acting like a normal person, which is better than playing student. Looking at his supreme black card and planning to sell his loot that night, Duan quickly returns to the hotel, thinking that he spent too much time at Feng's house and didn't have time to look for another place to sleep, so he decides to stay there another night. Upon entering, he is greeted by a man in a suit who introduces himself as Yang Ji, the mayor of Hsinchu City. The mayor thanks him for helping during the domain invasion and asks if Duan is interested in living in Hsinchu City permanently. Duan replies, yes, saying he had been thinking about it lately. The mayor doesn't waste a second, handing him a special adventurer's certificate with high privileges and making it clear that if he ever needs anything in the future, he just has to say the word and they will do their best to help him. In his mind, he's thinking how lucky he is, because he knows other cities tried to recruit Duan before, but they were all rejected. Hsinchu City is small, so he hopes Duan won't look down on it. Duan accepts the certificate, thinking that Feng might find it useful later. The mayor, satisfied, imagines that having a 4 transformation warrior makes the city much safer, trying to win his favor. He asks if Duan is looking for a place to stay. If he is, he'll arrange it immediately. Meanwhile, our boy is crushing his game late at night. When he checks the class group chat, which is still going, it's still blowing up. His classmates are stressed about awakening at 16 and needing breakthrough levels for the university entrance exams. Meanwhile, our boy has already surpassed them all. They start mentioning his name, saying he's just wasting time, probably some Miss Wang fanboy stalking her socials. Teacher Chi steps in, telling everyone to mind their own business. But then people start talking about secret realm invasions and everyone starts getting paranoid. Feng remembers what Teacher Chi and Duan said about the changes in the world, plus that time he fought against invasion monsters and some escaped. In the distortion world, the boss sneezes randomly, having a strange feeling. The next day, at the Chengxin Trading Exchange, she's back at work after it was wrecked by distortion monsters. Her colleagues tell her, "Why are you here? You're still hurt." But Shin acts tough, so the colleague starts to gossip that. Feng is a reckless thief who messed with a big shot, and Shin starts to defend him. The other girl tells her that Mr. Wang investigated Feng's background and found out he's just an 18-year-old nobody with a 1-star job whose parents died early, basically broke, with no way to get high-level items, so if he's not a thief, what else could he be? At that moment, Feng appears and creates a stone spike in front of the gossiping creature, making her fall on her butt. He apologizes, but says she was too insolent and almost made him lose control. She gets scared, screaming for the guards, because magic inside the trade exchange is apparently illegal. Shin tries to get him to leave, since the exchange has enormous influence and common people can't afford to anger them. But Feng isn't worried. The guards appear with Chief Wang, asking how this nobody dared to show his face. Wang says they're investigating if he's a thief and orders the guards to seize him, as he has no right to ask questions. That's when Feng pulls out this supreme black card, asking if this is how they treat customers. Everyone freezes, stunned, wondering how this Feng, a nobody, got it. Wang assumes it's fake because there's no way this poor kid could have something so rare. Our boy simply puts away the card and tells them to investigate it, since they're so good at that. Wang calls to verify while a crowd gathers outside. So he calls the mayor and Dong Ming asks if someone was investigating the card he gave to Wang. Wang starts sweating buckets, trying to explain it was a misunderstanding because the mayor's father is one of the founders of the trade exchange. Dong Ming starts yelling, asking what misunderstanding, saying that Feng is someone important. He asks if Wang offended Feng, and Wang stammers that he didn't and that he'll resolve everything. The mayor gets furious, slamming tables, suspecting that Wang did offend Feng, and says he'll go over immediately. Wang ends the call in tears, wondering how the hell Feng met Dong Ming and what their relationship is, but then he gets an idea about calling Duan, since they found the fighter set, thinking that if Duan came for a showdown, even Dong Ming would have to respect him. So Feng is chilling in the waiting room with Shin, when suddenly the mayor of Idu comes rushing in. Shin is shocked because apparently these big shots know our boy. Oh! They're both angry and staring intently at that gossiping creature. Now that chick is terrified and asking why they're looking at her like that. She turns around and sees Wang completely defeated and asks what happened, but he can only say it's all over. Dong Ming asks Feng if he wants them to apologize, but our boy says it's unnecessary, since they wouldn't mean it anyway and they can't redeem themselves. The mayor points at Wang and his colleague, telling them to get lost immediately. Wang slaps the woman, saying it was all her fault, which makes Dong Ming even more furious, and he orders the guards to drag him out. They head to a VIP room where Shin is serving tea. The mayor watches her, thinking that Feng has good taste, and is relieved that they didn't completely ruin the trade exchange's reputation. Shin is amazed that Feng is chatting casually with these important people like it's nothing. Dong Ming tells Shin that she was wronged and to work hard because the trade exchange will compensate her. She is embarrassed, but grateful. Feng apologizes to the mayor for making him come all this way, but Dong Ming says that Feng's problems are also his problems. Without him, the city of Longbow might have been left defenseless. Then, Dong Ming asks if Feng needs anything. Since he noticed him looking at rare items, Feng laughs and asks if he's heard of something called the Relic of the End. Both Dongmin and Duan are surprised and intrigued. Feng acts like it's nothing, saying he saw someone mention it online and thought it might be interesting. We get a flashback of Feng using that skill book his master gave him. It's used by mages to temporarily replenish mana in combat. He learns it and gets a system notification about a passive skill called Darkness Convergence, which absorbs the residual dark energy from the Relic of the End and transforms it into his own energy. But our boy had never heard of this Relic of the End before, and the system doesn't explain what it is. He's tired and sleepy, so he decides to deal with it later. Back in the present, Dong Ming says that last time was a hasty departure and invites them to Longbow City, covering all expenses. He takes a flight scroll and takes off, while they watch him fly away. Dwayne invites Feng to his house for a meal. Feng is surprised by the size of the house, asking if the mayor really pays for it. Duan explains that anyone above the 4th level of transformation receives special treatment in the city of Shinju. And he asks if Feng wants to move there. Our boy says he'll make money and buy his own house so they can be neighbors soon. Duan offers to lend him money, but Feng refuses, thinking about all those crystals he got from selling gear. Although he realizes that if he buys a house now, he'll have fewer crystals for later, so he decides to wait. They're enjoying tea when Duan gets a call from the mayor of Chinju City. It turns out There's a higher-ranking investigation team that is reviewing the recent disasters, and they want information from Duan. He worries this might affect Feng, so he tells the mayor he's busy today. Feng asks what that investigation group is, since he's never heard of them. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a strange guy shows up, saying the city is weird because they're talking about a mysterious big shot. The scene changes to the meeting room with all those important people, trying to figure out who this mysterious big shot is. Jean says she doesn't know anything, but the big guy from before gets suspicious, asking why there are rumors that this boss saved the city. She explains that the secret area invasion suddenly stopped and that all the mutants were eliminated. Which sounds pretty convenient if you think about it, but this guy isn't buying it. He says all of this is stupid, that they can't just go around assuming things without investigating properly. He mentions there was another accident with 2 king-level attacks and wants to know exactly what that mysterious boss did. Meanwhile, Chi is sweating buckets, thinking about how Jing used her power to alter all the information related to Feng to protect him, so now all the blame falls on her. Mayor Yang bursts in, saying he called Duan, but that the guy is too busy to attend the meeting. That bastard loses his mind, slamming his hands on the table, saying he hates those out-of-control adventurers who act like they own the world just because they don't have a guild to watch over them. After the meeting, he heads to the secret area, and the guards let him pass without a problem, saying they feel safer with him there. Poor guys, they have no idea. They just let a psychopath into a restricted area. Once inside, he's checking all the traces of dark energy, impressed by the level of destruction, and wondering what kind of force could completely wreck a secret area like this. He gets excited seeing the dark energy residual, pure and powerful, saying that even a mysterious big boss would be like an ant before an elephant compared to this power. Then, this maniac raises his hand and summons a sinister demon right in front of him, as if he were controlling it, and starts to laugh, saying it's king level and full of powerful energy that he wants all for himself. Yep, this guy is definitely the villain, guys. Meanwhile, Feng is at Duan's house, still playing his game and complaining to the system when, suddenly, an alert pops up saying, "The Relic of the End has been found." He's surprised and realizes that something is forming a connection with him through some kind of aura. If he concentrates, he can pinpoint its location. Feng grabs his shirt and tells Duan he's going out for a bit, asking him to finish his game. He takes a taxi and checks the GPS, deducing that the energy is coming from near the cemetery. He realizes through the connection that whatever it is moving. At the cemetery entrance, the guards see the demon emerging from the portal and notify their superiors about an unknown monster. They're trembling, wondering what the hell that thing is, guys. That idiot just went and fused with the monster. They're calling for help because they can't even move due to the monster alert. They set up roadblocks to prevent accidents, and the guards tell everyone to stop because there's danger ahead. The taxi driver tells Feng they can't get past the roadblock, so our boy just pays and gets out, saying it's fine. He notices the thing moved away temporarily, probably because it sensed him coming. Then Jing shows up with Professor Chi and another person running towards the monster, but they stop in horror, asking what the hell is going on. So after the battle in the sinister cemetery, Jing is lying, all beaten up, in Chi's arms, while she tries to heal her. She can barely speak because of her injuries, and Professor Chi thinks the gear Feng gave her helped to reduce the cooldown of support spells. But the situation is still critical, since even someone as strong as Jing couldn't stop this creature. Jin trembles, asking where the creature went. Ji explains that it's heading to the city center, but Mayor Yang has already called Duan for help, though who knows how long he'll take to arrive. Jing realizes that Duan is almost as strong as her, so he won't be a match for this thing alone. The creature is tearing up the city when Feng arrives looking furious. He notices that the final relic has grown much larger, and that the demonic creature is looking at him like a wild beast. Feng wonders if he needs another forbidden spell to take it down, but the creature doesn't wait, and lunges at his head with everything it has. Our boy stands perfectly still until the last second, then uses his dark shield to block the attack. The creature is confused, wondering how this is even possible and where Feng got such incredible power. That's when the system appears, asking if he wants to absorb the final relic. Feng doesn't hesitate. He needs close physical contact, so he unleashes a terrible power towards the creature and absorbs it while it screams through the absorption. He gets memory fragments and gains 100 attributes in total. Finally, Feng is pleased because not even 3-star classes get that many skill points when leveling from 0 to the 3rd transformation. But he's worried because he absorbs something extra and starts seeing strange images in his head. Duan shows up asking what happened. 1. Feng casually gestures towards the monster, saying it appeared out of nowhere, so he killed it immediately. 2. Duan sees Bangji unconscious on the ground, deducing that Feng took care of him too. 3. He's confused by the chaotic scene, thinking they might be members of evil sects, and he can't explain the strange energy around since it doesn't look like spell damage. Feng pats Duan on the shoulder, asking him to take care of the rest, since he arrived just in time. Then he takes off at full speed, leaving Duan amazed by his quickness, wondering if he's really a mage, since that speed surpasses many combat classes. Later, at Kimyu Prison, Bangji is locked up after confessing that he tried to control the creature. Jin explains that he discovered it in his secret dimension and managed to manipulate the dark power for himself. He injected dark power into the secret dimension during his research, but the creature got out of control. The mayor is pleased, saying it's great to have this mysterious big boss keeping the city safe. Jing and Professor Chi smile because their student is doing an excellent job. The mayor asks Duan if he met this big boss. Duan says yes, he was lucky enough to meet him once, surprising the two beauties. Mayor Yang asks him for a favor. If the mysterious big boss is willing to settle permanently in Shinju City, they will cover all his needs. Duan explains that the big boss is discreet and rarely appears, so they should better forget that idea. Good idea. Duan thinks about how he managed to pin everything on this mysterious big boss who doesn't even exist. Without proof, they can't investigate anything. The mayor is disheartened, saying it's a shame, because strong people like the big boss are admired by everyone. Duan tells them that the mysterious big boss has relatives in Shinju, so he'll take special care of that place. But in return, he doesn't want to be bothered. Jink is intrigued, but understands in the end. Professor Chi wonders if maybe the big boss is related to Feng in some way. Back at Feng's house, Jink is taking a bath, thinking about how the final relic is actually the remains of demon kings who died in secret dimensions. Those strange images he saw before are memory fragments from when the demon kings were alive that were absorbed with the relic. He's not interested in becoming a demon king himself, so he wonders what those fragments are for. But then he realizes they could be useful under all this accumulation of dark power. The secret dimensions go through periods of strengthening. 1, if the invaded time and space can't withstand it, the world faces chaos. 2, in his current reality, the training path of the awakened isn't complete, with only a few reaching the 4th level and the awakened professions haven't taken form yet. Ideal demons. The information from the Demon King's memories doesn't paint a good picture. If things continue like this, humanity is doomed. Even if he protects himself, he can't live in a world full of monsters. But luckily, they're not the only ones dealing with invasions from secret dimensions. Some other realities manage to repel them successfully. 1, if he can collect more fragments and draw useful experiences, it will be super effective. 2, although those experiences are beyond current knowledge, improper handling could cause unpredictable consequences. 3, his phone rings and it's Yua, inviting him to dinner that night because they're celebrating. She completed her S-class mission and finished transforming into the Vanguard's Shadow class. Feng immediately accepts, saying how could he refuse her invitation, which makes her happy. She sends him the location right away. After sending it, Yua and Yao leave the transformation area, where their guild friends are waiting with confetti, congratulating them on reaching the 2nd level. People are amazed that they reached the 2nd level so young. Xiao invites Yua to dinner at the best restaurant, but she says she already has plans and asks them to go without her. She announces that she's organizing an event tomorrow and wants everyone to be there. Xiao asks if they shouldn't rest after working so hard, but Yua says it's important and can't be postponed. She leaves while everyone watches her. Yao gets irritated, saying they just reached the 2nd level and they're already having disagreements. Shu tries to calm him down, saying, "That's just how Yua is. She must have something important." Yao asks if everyone isn't tired of chasing after her, which surprises them. Yao explains that now that she's completed the S-class transition and awakened a new hidden class, the gap between her and the others will only grow. She was shocked as they watch her walk away. Yao says he's afraid she'll leave the guild completely one day. Night falls and Feng is at the restaurant with Yua for their celebration dinner. He's going crazy over the roasted lamb, saying the place isn't expensive, but all the food is delicious, and tells him to try it. He says that being there was only possible because he followed her. Yua thanks him for giving her the emblem because it helped her a lot. While devouring his lamb, he gets curious and asks her if the emblem activated a new hidden class. He's thinking about those memories of the Demon King and how the awakened and their professions in that reality hadn't yet reached their ideal form. He wonders if the emblems are a way to achieve that state. Yua asks him if he knows where those emblems came from. Feng laughs, saying he's not too sure. She gets frustrated hearing this, saying it would be great if they could buy them, since she would give one to him and the other team members. He feels happy thinking that his friend is still the same. Whenever something good happens, she also considers their interests. Then, Yua tells him not to worry, that she will take care of the emblem matter, and asks him not to give up on training, since having extra self-defense skills is useful in dangerous times. She says that once she finds a suitable emblem for him, he could activate a new class too. Feng starts joking, saying that it's difficult to train alone and that having her as a friend to protect him is enough. She is surprised, telling him to stop joking, as she is being serious. Suddenly, she feels an uncomfortable pain. Feng gets worried, asking what happened. She puts her hand on her arm, telling him not to worry, that she got a little injured completing a mission. He offers to heal her, but she says she was already healed. It was an S-class mission where the boss dealt a ton of damage, and she needs time to recover. Class? S-class? Feng wonders how difficult S-class professions are when his phone rings. Someone asks him if he is Ning Feng, but he doesn't answer. Just asks what they want and who they are. The voice has an aggressive tone, saying that he doesn't need to know who he is, just to answer where he got the emblem from. Feng gets fed up and hangs up on the guy. Yua notices he's stressed and asks what happened. He says that the caller asked where the emblem came from. She is startled, saying she didn't tell anyone outside the guild about the emblem. Feng simply takes his lamb, telling her to let it go and let them eat in peace. But the guy still hasn't hung up. Feng answers again, hearing the guy yelling, asking how he dared to hang up on him and saying he'll pay for what he did. Done? Feng listens to the nonsense, then gets serious, thinking that Yua's nearby, so it's better not to draw attention, and he hangs up immediately. After eating and chatting, they leave the restaurant happily. Feng clutches his stomach, saying he's too full, and that he's never eaten such good lamb before. She is happy to hear that, but gets worried, asking if he wants her to carry him. He smiles, saying it's not necessary, and says goodbye. Back home, he opens the door feeling sleepy from eating so much, but is startled to see his house ransacked and a complete mess. Someone calmly approaches him, asking why he took so long. Feng gets serious, asking if he was the one who called earlier. The blonde guy starts to laugh, saying yes, and that he told Feng he would pay. He says that if he had answered honestly from the beginning, none of this would be happening. Feng asks who sent him. The blondie lets out a malicious laugh, asking how he dares a simple low-level awakened being to talk like that, asking if he didn't have a master who taught him to respect the strong. Man, this is about to get ugly real fast before our boy could even think about smashing their faces in. Another guy tried to sneak up from behind, but Feng's reflexes are incredible. He dodges and counters with an elbow straight to the guy's nose, making him drop his dagger. The attacker slides down the wall, unconscious. Now Blondie is terrified, wondering what the hell just happened. Feng laughs, telling him to show some respect and calm down. Blondie is sweating buckets, realizing that the information was clearly wrong. There's no way Feng is just a 1-star nobody. He wonders how a 3-star assassin was defeated by a mage using his bare hands. As he panics, he grabs a shuriken and notices that Feng has over 100 points in all stats with brutal reaction, speed, and range. Feng realizes he can handle situations easily without even using magic. Blondie throws his shuriken, but Feng dodges it like it's nothing. Seeing that reaction, Blondie decides to make a run for the balcony to escape, and jumps off, but Feng grabs his leg, preventing his escape, and smashes his face hard against the wall. After that, Feng orders them to clean up the mess they made, yelling that they'll also have to pay for the broken cabinet. After cleaning everything up, Blondie says they're done, and that all their belongings, including their clothes, are on the table. Feng crosses his arms, saying that's fine, but he wants to know who sent them. With his face all busted up, Blondie explains that it was Master Yao Cheng from the Lion Guild who hired them. He says that Feng has an emblem, a special and unique one that can't be found anywhere, so Yao hired him to gather information. Feng gets interested, wondering if Yao Cheng is the same mage from Yua's guild. If so, it wouldn't be surprising that he'd pull this crap. Then he gets excited with a sinister expression, thinking he won't be gentle, because he still has an unused, forbidden spell. Feng activates a skill called Soul Snatching Darkness, using mental force to control minds and briefly transforming into a powerful projection. He targets the two thugs, making them scream in pain. Meanwhile, that bastard Yao and the Shield Warrior are walking and talking. The warrior asks about the emblem, and Yao says seriously that he already sent someone to find Feng, and that if he doesn't cooperate, he'll make him suffer a fate worse than death. The warrior is surprised, asking what would happen if Yua finds out. Yao says he can't worry about that. The warrior comments that it's a shame the mission didn't go as planned. Yao starts to remember that he originally let the Shield Warrior face the boss to diminish Yua's momentum and scare her, and then he would step in as the hero who saves the day, but he never imagined she would risk her life and defeat the boss herself. Suddenly, someone appears out of nowhere. Yao sees that it's the guy he sent to gather information on Feng and gets furious immediately, asking why he appeared so silently and if he got the requested information. Feng, who is possessing Blondie's body, he's furious about the harm to Yu. The two idiots who did it are there surprised when he asks if they're responsible. But then this guy Yao shows up and slaps Blondie across the face, telling him not to interfere. Our boy Feng goes into full demon mode, grabs both of them by the neck, and lifts them off the ground. He tells them they don't deserve to live for hurting you, but he won't kill them easily either. Then black flames appear everywhere. These aren't your typical barbecue flames, they're the kind that consume you from the inside out until you turn to ash. But here's the thing, Feng realizes he needs to incinerate the blonde guy's body too to eliminate all the evidence. Smart move. No witnesses, no problems, except now he's thinking that his neighborhood is no longer a safe place, because high-level awakened people can come and go as they please. And he can't watch his house 24/7 like a personal guard. He was planning to dive into the memories of the Demon Kings to get some juicy information, but luckily he hadn't started yet. Getting caught by the Awakened while doing that would have been a total disaster, so Feng decides to stay at Duan's place. That guy has already awakened the 4th transformation, so he's pretty strong and his neighborhood has better security than a government facility. When Feng explains what happened, Duan gets completely enraged. He tells Feng to rest while he investigates to see if there are any more conspirators. Attacking Feng directly was basically asking for a death sentence, but Feng tells him to chill out and asks if he knows any reliable alchemists. Duan gets confused, asking what criteria he wants. Feng explains that he needs someone high-level, trustworthy, and preferably independent with as few connections as possible. Duan knows a few good alchemists, but they're all already in big guilds, which is no good for Feng because thanks to the Demon King's memories, he knows that those guild alchemists produce some really superior potions. Unfortunately, he only got the recipes, not the practical knowledge, so he needs a professional to break it down for him. Besides, guild alchemists are basically walking information leaks waiting to happen. So Feng calls Yu, asking her about alchemists. She knows exactly one trustworthy person, and it's Shu's brother. Apparently he was thinking of joining their guild, but he didn't get along with Yao Cheng, so the deal fell through. Feng thinks his friend Yu had the worst luck getting stuck with Yao as a teammate, but hey, at least that problem is solved now, because Yao won't be causing any more trouble. When Yu asks why he needs an alchemist, Feng says he found some recipes at home and needs help understanding them. She gets suspicious, asking if he found something at home again. Our boy just laughs, saying he's been doing some serious cleaning lately. So they meet up with the Shu guy and Feng shows him the recipes. Outside, Shu throws a tantrum. Apparently she wanted to use the opportunity to get closer to Feng, but that four-eyed idiot kicked her out. The alchemist examines the recipes and says the ingredients aren't special, but the preparation method is completely new to him and looks incredibly complicated. When Feng mentions it's supposed to increase experience by 100%, Shu Wei's jaw drops. The normal experience potions on the market only increase it by 40% at most and cost a fortune. A 100% increase would make 1- and 2-star awakened level up like crazy, so Feng just smiles, saying that it probably does, but he's not sure and can't just go around asking anyone, which is why he needs professional help to figure it out. Then Shu Wei tells Feng to wait a minute, because he's going upstairs to run some experiments. The three of them are chatting calmly when they suddenly hear a weird noise upstairs. They all get worried, wondering what the hell is going on up there. Shu decides to investigate and goes up the stairs. When she gets there, she sees something jumping, which turns out to be her brother's experimental slime. Just as Yu and Feng go up to check, a burst of flames shoots past them. They all just stand there wondering what the hell that was. They run over and find out it's that four-eyed idiot celebrating. Shu Wei is absolutely ecstatic, saying that the potion actually worked and leaving the girls completely confused. He explains that he drank a bit of the prepared potion and tested it on the slime. The experience boost is really 100%. Feng thinks that if this recipe works, then the others will too. Meanwhile, Shu Wei is having fun throwing more fireballs at the slime. His sister explains that he's so obsessed with his lab that he never lets her go up there, and now he's basically destroying everything himself. After Feng explains the potion recipe to the girls, they go crazy, asking if it really increases experience by 100%. Feng confirms it, but the alchemist tells them to keep it down because this requires maximum confidentiality, and of course, this is basically liquid gold. Shu Wei asks Feng what his next move is, because if he sells this, he'll make an unimaginable fortune. Right now, everything is dangerous and no one will turn down something that increases their strength. But then, Feng's phone buzzes with a message from Chi in their class group chat, saying the school is planning to take all the third-year students to a secret location in the neighboring city for training next Monday. Since space is limited, each class will have different schedules and areas. The teacher asks everyone to prepare and cooperate actively. After the announcement, everyone starts sending worried messages about the scarcity of experience, that there's no room enough for everyone, and that there are no experience potions available. Feng reads all this and starts thinking about what to do. Then he gets an idea. He'll use the experience potions on his classmates first and then sell them to others later. Shu asks if she's considered one of his classmates. When Feng says yes, she gets super excited, saying that she and Yu will be his bodyguards in the future, but Feng is still thinking strategically. He knows that once such a coveted item hits the market, it will cause a huge impact and create opportunities for profit. The problem is that greedy flies like Yao Chun will probably swarm in large numbers. To keep the peace, the best thing to do is to first strengthen the people around him to support his power base. Because when someone with bad intentions shows up, that's when he'll have to act. Feng remembers the berserker from the guild, and just so you know, this guy's name is Zhou Yang Shu, who is apparently stressed about getting into college. Man, even in fantasy worlds, these guys worry about applications. College students. Fen thinks this guy is pretty talented and could be useful to him. Then Su Wei shows up, approaching Feng, asking if he can call him brother and begging him for more recipes. Feng hands him another recipe, and Four Eyes starts to read it and freaks out. The poor guy only recognizes 2 ingredients and realizes he's totally out of his league. Feng has that light bulb moment. Ah, right. These are recipes from another world. No wonder they're confused. Yu suggests that they all train together. Once the experience potions are ready, and she pats Feng on the shoulder, telling him he should go too. Our boy immediately starts to panic and play dumb, because he knows he's about to be exposed as a fraud. But she tells him the city just sent out a notice allowing guild teams to train, so he can legally join them. They schedule it for Monday after Shuei calculates they'll need that much time to make enough potions for everyone. We fast forward to Monday, and Feng is already at the meetup spot. He calls Yu, saying he's arrived, and she tells him to wait by the road. Then a school bus passes by, with his classmates inside, and they see him standing there, asterisk, asterisk. Wait, is that really that loser Ning Feng? They start laughing and making fun of him, calling him useless. Then they decide he's not even worth talking about. Meanwhile, there's a crowd at the entrance to this area, the secret training ground. Feng's class also shows up, and a student asks their teacher, Qi, when they'll be able to get in. She says in about 2 hours because they're in the second group. The students start complaining, asking, asterisk, asterisk, seriously, we have to wait that long? But then one of them spots Feng up ahead with Yu and her lion guild, and they go crazy. The student asks teacher Qi why Feng's group gets to skip the line, and she explains that since he's the guild leader, they're probably heading straight to the heart of the secret area, where there are fewer people, but much more dangerous monsters. Asterisk, asterisk. Folks, this side character, I'm not even going to bother with the alphabet. He gets absolutely furious, saying he should be the one standing next to the goddess, while his friends say how dare Feng go to the core, any small monster there could easily kill him. Then a person shows up, asking if they're talking about Wong Yu, who is ranked 5th on the supernova charts. The student sweating confirms it, and this person gets excited, saying, asterisk, asterisk. Great, they're going to the right place. Before walking towards the portal with 2 other people, also skipping the line, the students lose their minds again, asking why those guys get special treatment too. That's when the girl explains that these 3 are all rising stars on the supernova charts. Changmu is ranked 4th, the muscular Jiki is 3rd, and Gu Junju is 2nd. So Feng's group finally arrives at the center of this secret training area. And Shuei immediately throws an experience potion at Yangshu. The berserker goes absolutely nuts when he realizes it's a 100% boost potion. The guy practically screams with joy until Shu hits him, telling him to calm down. They can't let everyone know about their cheat codes, right? Young Su asks if the potion is valuable, and Four Eyes explains that it's not actually that hard to make, since the ingredients aren't rare. And the process isn't complex, but that's exactly what makes the recipe so valuable. Low cost, high reward. He even says that with just this one recipe, Feng could become an honorary guest in any major guild. Everyone gets emotional, with Yang Shu thumping his chest, promising Feng that he'll help him with anything in the future. Our boy laughs awkwardly like, hey, we're all teammates here. There's no need for formalities. Meanwhile, Yu watches from the side, thinking about how Feng was never good at socializing, especially after his failed awakening at 16. She remembers how people made fun of him at school, making him even more withdrawn, but seeing him happy and talking with friends for once makes her feel good, as if maybe he could finally recover from all that trauma. Yuka clears her throat to get everyone's attention and lays out the battle plan. Since they don't have a proper tank or a magic DPS, she tells Feng that he doesn't need to do anything so he won't attract the monster's attention. She'll pull the monsters, Yang Shu will handle the damage, Shu will handle the buffs and protection, and Shu Wei will throw potions as needed. Everyone agrees, but inside he's frustrated, because this setup will slow down his progress a lot. Still, he decides to cooperate out of respect, thinking he can always use his forbidden curses. Later, when he's alone. The action starts with Yu taking her bow and firing an arrow that creates a massive explosion, drawing all the monsters towards her. Shu buffs the berserker, who smashes the ground, sending a shockwave at the approaching monsters. Shu Wei starts throwing experience potions everywhere, excited to see his experience shooting up like crazy. He's thinking that if this keeps up, he'll soon be able to create new potions. Both Shu and Yang Shu celebrate, believing that they might actually manage to reach the second stage before the entrance exams and get into the top universities. With everything going great until they hear a strange noise coming from a nearby cave, And that's when the party crashers arrive, Gujin. Joe, who lets out a sinister laugh and apologizes for interrupting, but says he couldn't help himself upon hearing someone who hasn't even reached the second stage talking about getting into prestigious universities. Guys, Shu and the Berserker are shocked, asking if these are really the top-ranked guys on the supernova lists. Gu Yunju is delighted to be recognized so quickly. Our group is confused about why these national stars would be here, since they're supposed to be from the Xinyu area. Then Wong Yu steps forward, asking these national ranker guys what exactly they want. Our heroes were training peacefully when Junjo shows up with his group. This guy directly asks Yu if she wants to join their team. Shu and the Berserker are surprised, but Yu immediately turns him down, saying she already has her own team, but Jungju doesn't take no for an answer. He gets condescending, mentioning that his team has Jae Chung, who is ranked 14th on the supernova lists, and that maybe she would also consider it a favor for her. The audacity of this guy. Yu is getting irritated at being asked if she wasn't clear enough. She said no. That's when Junjo drops his "let me explain why you're wrong" speech. He says that news travels slowly in Xinyu, the monsters are getting tougher, the universities are raising their standards, and only elite teams get in now. Then he goes into full villain mode, telling you that she's destined to be powerful, but looking at her friends as if to say, these losers, man, the disrespect is brutal. Then he drops some depressing line about weakness being the greatest sin, and you can practically see Yu's patience evaporate. She starts to summon her bow because she's had enough. But this smug bastard tells her not to get worked up, since she's a ranged DPS and close combat isn't her thing. Shu, being the voice of reason, puts a hand on Yu's shoulder, suggesting they find another place to train. The whole guild turns to leave, but Feng stays there, thinking about how irritating Junjo is, and wondering if Yu could actually beat him with her new class. That's when Jiki decides to join in on the fun, slamming the ground like an angry gorilla and asking if Feng is Yao Cheng. When Feng says no, Giki laughs and tells him to get lost because he's nothing but a nobody, and that's when our boy finally snaps. The Berserker tries to defend Feng by asking Giki not to be so disrespectful, but Giki's response is to throw a punch. Yang Shu blocks it, but is shocked by the force. This punch breaks several of his ribs and brings him to his knees. The poor guy thinks that Giki must be cruel as hell, while trying to tell Feng to back off so he doesn't get dragged into this mess. Jiki is standing there like it's all useless, which pisses Yang Shu off even more. The Berserker tries to charge up his fists for a counterattack, but he realizes Giki is too fast. He's about to take another devastating blow with no way to block or dodge. Yu and Shu are getting ready to intervene, but they're too far away. Jiki's fist is about to connect with Yang Shu's face when, suddenly, a hand appears out of nowhere, easily stopping what should have been a knockout blow. It's our boy Feng, casually stopping what was supposed to be a devastating punch, so everyone is just standing there, confused as hell, wondering how that spineless, good-for-nothing, useless waste effortlessly blocked a punch. But our boy doesn't care. He grabs Giki's fist and pulls it so hard the guy screams in pain. Then he throws him like he's pitching a baseball. Giki goes flying and crashes into a pile of rocks which collapse on top of him, burying him completely. Feng turns around with a sinister smile and calls Giki useless. Junjo runs to help his friend, but he completely forgets about Yu, who had been charging her bow this whole time. This guy starts jumping in pain, unable to believe he just got hit with an arrow in the butt. Sue is dying of laughter because, honestly, seeing the tank cocky go down from an arrow to the butt cheeks is pure comedy. Muchu is having an existential crisis watching all this. A mage just destroyed a berserker unarmed and an archer wrecked a tank at close range. He's wondering if this is all a dream, since these guys are supposed to be elite talents. Meanwhile, Feng is breathing heavily because he was trying to keep a low profile, and now he's already blown his whole cover. He tells Shu to stop being useless and go heal the berserker while she takes care of Yang Shu. Feng asks him how he wants to deal with Giki. The berserker says he doesn't know, but he'll follow Feng's orders, which surprises our boy. Feng tells Yang Shu to go loot Giki's gear as compensation for all the disrespect. Junju goes crazy, yelling about robbery. But suddenly, Feng appears right in front of him with that terrifying expression, asking him, "Are you saying something?" Junju immediately does a 180-degree turn, offering his own gear to smooth things over. Feng puts his arm around him and tells him he doesn't like trouble. If Junju even thinks about getting revenge, they'll regret it. The supposed tough guy promises he won't do anything stupid. Muchu steps in, also offering his gear and handing it over to Shuei. "Hey!" Feng calls her smart and then tells everyone to go train somewhere else, leaving Muchu embarrassed and gearless. As they walk away, Yu tells Feng she planned to take him training, but she never imagined he'd be this strong. He laughs, saying she knew he had changed classes recently, but he didn't want to attract attention. Yu gets frustrated with his secretive attitude, saying she won't ask anymore since he never tells her anything anyway. Feng laughs again, telling her she understands him better than anyone. That's when she puts her hand on his shoulder and tells him that, regardless of everything, she's very happy for him. He just smiles, gives her a thumbs up, and thanks her. Then, Shuei and Youngshu ask Feng about his university and guild plans, and he says he hasn't thought about it yet. Smart move, actually, because he knows both places have strict management and a single mistake could expose all his forbidden magic secrets. But then Feng gets excited and suggests they go deeper into the secret area to level up faster. He's thinking that even without his high-level magic, he can use attribute boosts and passive skills to carry the team. The scene changes and Feng is at Duan's place, complaining that he only gained 1 level after days of hard work. The guy's already gotten spoiled from leveling up with his forbidden spells, and now normal farming doesn't cut it for him. He's thinking about how normal people like me take 2 years to reach level 60, and that maybe he should just apply to a local university instead of stressing about the elite one. Then, Feng has that millennial moment. Yeah, I'm stronger, but I still have to work just as hard as everyone else, so what's the point? So he decides to be lazy for a few days, playing games with Duan, sleeping in late and eating out, living his best slacker life until reality calls. His phone rings, and it's Shin telling him about an upcoming auction with good items. The new Master Tan wants to know if he's interested. Feng is so bored that he says yes, and Shin promises to have the list of items ready for him to review. Cut to the meeting where the Master Tanji Kai introduces himself as an appraiser for a fancy trade exchange. Shin is being super humble, telling Feng not to be formal, but inside he's thinking about how the mayor told him specifically to treat Feng like royalty. Shin hands over the auction list and Feng starts to review it carefully. Most of the equipment and potions for mages are useless to him. Master Tang gets nervous seeing how quickly Feng flips through everything, wondering if he underestimated this guy's standards. Then, something catches Feng's eye and his expression turns serious. Master Tang gets excited thinking Feng found something good. It's an experience potion with a 100% boost, super rare, perfect for leveling up quickly. But this is where things get weird. Feng goes quiet, remembering his conversation with Shu Wei about his recipe. Duan is also surprised to see it, and even Master Tang notices that something is wrong. Feng gets serious and asks where they got that item. Master Tang awkwardly explains that it came from the Blue Sharp Guild, one of the 7 great guilds in the country with some serious power, and that's when Feng's detective brain switches on. Either Shu Wei secretly sold his recipe to this guild, or these guys did something shady to get it. Feng asks if the guild mentioned where the potion came from, and Kai tells our boy about a new place called the Trial of the Gods. It can only be challenged solo, and is divided into layers. Every 10 layers, you get a reward. One of those rewards was the formula. Duan says it's the first time he's heard of it, and wonders if it's another rare change event. He points out that normally, you have to register at the county office first. Feng starts to think that maybe Shu Wei got into trouble, but he also feels that this Trial of the Gods sounds amazing. Just then, a system message pops up, giving him a mission. Use the power of the trial for his own benefit, with a 60-day time limit. And if he fails, he won't be doing anything else, because he'll be dead. But instead of getting scared, our boy is thrilled, because this is the first real quest he's been given. He thanks Kai, but says he'll skip the auction this time. Kai shrugs, but is secretly confused because Feng is rejecting the most coveted item of the day. Duan says he'll investigate the matter. Feng says there's no way he's letting him go alone. After some tricky investigations, Duan remembers the shiny badge Mayor Yang gave him. uses it to get in, and the two of them see that the trial looks like a big tower. Duan explains that the Azure Sharp Guild owns the rights and outsiders can't get in without them. Feng wonders if all the major guilds monopolize the instances like that. Feng goes to check out the trial site in person. He sees guild guards around and guesses they post fake leaks online to attract strong players. He smirks, thinking that with his stealth he can sneak past. One teleport later, he slips in behind the guards. Just as he feels ready, an explosion sends everyone at the control station flying. Someone yells about the explosion, and another says they need to inform the chairman. Back at home, Feng suddenly appears on his bed covered in blood and screaming. He can't believe it. All he did was touch the entrance. A massive wave of energy shattered his barrier, then system messages start flooding in. 3% damage, now 7%. Soon it will go up to 34%. Feng looks at the screen thinking, great. Not only am I bleeding out, but even my cheat system is being destroyed. Back in the instance area, people are investigating the aftermath of the explosion. A priest is healing the guards while reporting to the president that everyone is physically fine. A guard wakes up calling for the president, and this turns out to be He Shu, president of the Azure Sharp Guild. The guard says he doesn't know what happened, but that the trial gate exploded and he passed out. Shu thinks this sounds familiar. They had already received reports of strange mutations in the instances before. Then, a mage suggests using a special investigation magic, and Shu agrees they don't have much of a choice. This mage casts a time rewind spell, which, as its name suggests, basically allows them to rewind and see what really happened. The president thinks about how lucky they are that this secret realm has built-in recordings, but when they rewind the footage, in the footage, everyone is left speechless. They witness a shadowy creature teleporting. Then another deity appears, calling that thing an evil god and asking how it dares to invade his territory. These two literal gods start to fight, and everyone watching goes crazy upon hearing the term evil god. The other deity gets furious, saying that the mysterious guy escaped again and they need to find him before he destroys the world. The scene changes, and Shu is showing this recording to all the other presidents in Arc. From the guild, Liu Jingjun confirms that this is their first proof that gods really exist, and based on the spells cast, we're talking about magic on the level of forbidden spells, the legendary stuff. Arc, from the Epica Guild, asks if it's true that by completing the trials you get recognition and gifts. From deities, Shu confirms it, but says they never expected actual gods to show up to the party. Then, Yulin Hua from the Chuan Shu Guild says that those forbidden spells are strong enough to destroy deities, which is definitely not good news. Lu Yuening from the Wang Shu Guild basically says that if a god wants to destroy the world, they're all screwed. But Wambo from the Illuminati Guild has an idea. Since they can get gifts from deities by completing trials, maybe they can get forbidden spells to fight back. Jane Januan from the Ardiente Guild thinks it's worth a try. Meanwhile, Shu starts to get suspicious about why all these guild presidents are suddenly so interested in his trial of the gods. He tells them they can participate if they want, but makes it clear that the creatures and items in there are extremely powerful, and none of them are strong enough to handle it with their current abilities. So we have all these guild leaders in a moment of awkward silence until Jinjin asks Lao if he has any bright ideas. Lao basically says, "What ideas? You guys are supposed to be the experts here." Then he gets angry, saying that the only thing they care about is protecting themselves from mutants, and that when his apprentice reported an anomaly in Shinju, nobody cared. But now they're suddenly forming investigation groups that cause more problems than they solve. Lao says that if it weren't for the mysterious big shot in Shinju, they would have been guilty of harming innocents. 2, Jinjin can't even look at him, telling him to calm down because his head is burning again. 3, Yuning thinks about how using the dark power has made Lao worse, and that he was supposed to be retired by now. Jinjin gets serious and asks Lao to have his apprentice show the investigation video to the mysterious big shot from Shinju, hoping this powerful guy knows something. Liao sarcastically asks if they only remembered his apprentice exists now. Jingjing bribes him with 2 cases of good wine and promises that his apprentice will receive a decoration, which finally gets Liao's attention. Cut to Feng at Duan's house, looking at his system. There's a new mission called Don't Worry, It's Something Small Like Your Little Thing, with the goal of reaching the second transformation and repairing the system in 60 days. The penalty is, well, obviously death. Feng thinks something small. Something small. His system is basically trolling him at this point. He walks to the living room and finds several people there with Duan. Lao stands up asking if he is Ning Feng, and after introductions, we find out this old man is the former head of Lone Shadow and the current director of Adventurer Management. His apprentice, Miss Jing, is also there, responsible for Lone Shadow in their province. Then Lao drops the ultimate troll question. He asks Feng if he's the Scarlet Flame god of death, nearly giving our boy a heart attack before laughing and saying he's just kidding. Feng is reading this guy's aura, thinking he's definitely one of the 3 strongest people alive, with tons of merits for developing secret areas and dismantling evil groups. 1. Lao hands Feng 5 million crystals and 200 advanced experience potions as a gift for his college entrance exam. 2. And Feng can't believe the amount, but then they get to the point. Jing shows the test video where the deity calls someone an evil god. Feng's internal monologue is pure panic. How could a common student like me be an evil god? Then he remembers his mission title and gets furious with his system for calling that something small. The guy is having an existential crisis while trying to keep a poker face poker. He tells them he'll send the video to the mysterious Grandmaster and keep them updated. On his way out, Feng realizes that Jing was the woman from the transformation room earlier, thinking that's why they found him so quickly. Outside, Lao tells Jing that Feng is exactly as described, good, polite, and sensible. The government wants to recruit him if possible. When Jing asks if her master thinks Feng and the mysterious Grandmaster are the same person, Lao's answer is basically, does it matter? It doesn't. If he wants to be a student, he's a student that's better for everyone. The old man is playing 4D chess, explaining that giving 5 million crystals to a student is smart. Either way, if the student turns out to be the mysterious Grandmaster, he'll remember the kindness. Besides, the enemies are getting stronger and no one is qualified for the god's gifts, so their best bet is to have the mysterious Grandmaster as their ace in the hole. So Feng is just sitting there with his coffee having a crisis. Having an existential crisis, thinking about how his system detected damage from some god investigating his whereabouts. This deity casually destroyed his absolute defense with a single blow, which means they've reached the level of forbidden magic. So our boy's priority list got pretty simple. Fix the system to block the god's search and complete the trial mission without dying. He asks Duan for more info from Old Man Lao and learns that the trial realm is basically a tower with unknown floors. The monsters inside are ridiculously powerful compared to normal secret realms, and the current record holder is Shu from the At Your Sharp Guild with 42 floors. Feng is sweating because if he activates more forbidden magic, his cover will be blown. Then he has a light bulb moment. The mission doesn't say he has to do it personally. Time to find a substitute. He asks Duan how many floors he could handle, and Duan estimates 35. Feng thinks that since Shu is close to his 5th transformation and is stronger than Duan, but Duan is reliable, he'll send him in with some special training. Cut to Old Man Lao losing his mind when Jin tells him the mysterious Grandmaster wants to send someone to the trial and asked for their training room. He laughs because the 7 guild masters tried the trial yesterday and failed miserably. Even Lu Yingzhen, one of the strongest in the country, couldn't beat it. Jin says, if he can't pass, who can? Old Man Lao gets so excited, his head literally bursts into flames like Ghost Rider, eager to see how far Duan can get with the mysterious master's training. His apprentice freaks out, seeing those flames constantly consuming his life, wondering if there's any way to help him. The price of dark power is brutal. At the training facility, everyone is gathering to watch this spectacle. Captain Shou is crying with relief, remembering when he got mad at Feng the first time, thankful he didn't offend the guy who could have obliterated him. Jin explains that the training room can simulate combat environments, but only warriors from the 4th transformation onwards can use it. When Jin connects Duan's information device, he's shocked to see it detailed even the monster's weaknesses, including the floors that Chairman Lu had just cleared. Feng is laughing internally because he obviously knows everything, The Demon King invaded that realm, so he just pulled the info from memory. Who better than the Demon King to know the monster's weaknesses? So, Old Man Lao asks if they can watch, and Dwan agrees, but then Lao asks with that sinister expression if the mysterious Grandmaster really said the evil god would destroy the world, scaring Jin. So Dwan is quiet for a moment, then remembers asking Feng back home if the evil god really wanted to destroy the world. Feng is sweating bullets because Dwan has no idea he's literally talking to the so-called evil god. Our boy has an internal debate about whether to confess, but decides the risk of exposure is too high, even with someone he trusts. Dwan tells Old Man Lao that he asked Feng the same question and got an 8-word answer. Everyone is on the edge of their seats, waiting to hear this wisdom. And Dwan surrenders. While I'm here, that won't happen. Old Lao starts laughing, saying that it's simple, confident, and totally the boss's style. Meanwhile, Jin sweats nervously, wondering what kind of person this boss is who doesn't even care about the gods, having no idea that it's her stupid student. Meanwhile, Feng gives himself a mental pat on the back, celebrating that he gave the perfect, unsuspicious answer that makes him sound like a badass protector instead of the real threat. The old man shakes Dwan's hand, saying that the test is now up to him, and they head off to watch the training. Cut to Dwan being absolutely wrecked by the monsters, thrown against the walls, but getting back up to finish them off. He's exhausted, but determined not to disappoint Feng, thinking this is his once-in-a-lifetime chance. Now, Jin is impressed that Dwan withstood monsters beyond the limits of the 4th transformation, saying that she definitely couldn't do it, but Old Lao remembers how Feng awakened at 18, but completed the 1st transformation in just a few months. He wonders if a miracle is waiting for Dwan too, thinking that this mysterious big boss could completely shatter the combat system. That's when reality hits Feng like a truck. He oversimplified everything, thinking that the monster's weaknesses would be enough, forgetting that humans have limits. Even knowing the weak spots doesn't matter if you can't reach them or survive long enough to exploit them. Looking at the exhausted Dwan, he realizes that if his friend fails, he'll have to do it himself with forbidden magic and risk total exposure. Feng makes up an excuse about school starting next week and leaves. He's thinking he needs to level up and get some powerful skills or gear to make up for what Dwan is lacking, so he pulls out a flight scroll in an alley, remembering he had someone buy a batch of these so he could teleport without being tracked. He flies toward one of those wild secret realms that Dwan mentioned that aren't under official control yet. But when he arrives, there are signs of a battle everywhere, and this goofball just says, "Oh, this looks scary. Let's go check it out." Meanwhile, there's a group of mutants from the evil clan literally stomping on a poor adventurer's head near the entrance. The big guy asks his masked boss if he saw that flash nearby, and the boss deduces it was probably a flight scroll. These villains start wondering if whoever used the scroll is there to kill them, but the mass leader just laughs, saying that person is walking to their death. He says they've been gathering sacrifices for the great Demon King who is about to rise again. He claims it's thanks to those unsuspecting idiots that they managed to sacrifice enough people for the Demon Lord to gather power, and that today is the day he will descend upon this world. The entire evil clan starts celebrating their wicked plan, completely oblivious to what's coming for them. One of the dead adventurers still has a communication device that's still working, and someone on the other end hears everything. This adventurer immediately panics over the return of the Demon King and the invasion of a secret realm. The captain realizes they're doomed. Squad 4 was wiped out, the magic shield won't hold, and a secret realm invasion will corrupt the nearest city. He orders everyone to evacuate while he stays behind to monitor the situation, although it's basically a suicide mission. Then we have this heartbreaking moment where the captain calls his daughter about a possible emergency drill, trying not to scare her. She calls him back just to wish him a happy birthday, and the poor man starts to cry because this might be the last time he ever speaks to her. Back outside, his team notices the dark energy resonating and realizes the invasion is starting, worried about leaving their captain behind. Meanwhile, the evil clan gets excited, thinking the Demon King is about to bless them with more power. But this is where it gets hilarious. Inside the secret realm, Feng just casually used his forbidden magic of extreme cold and froze everything solid. This skill apparently summons an infinite ice disaster that wipes out worlds. So now he's walking around shattering ice coffins, having the time of his life, while being happy that these monsters give great EXP and that he just hit level 37. One of the monsters he casually froze was the Demon King himself that everyone was waiting for. The clan outside celebrates the return of their Demon King, while their great demon lord is a popsicle thanks to our clueless protagonist. Feng just checks his system for new skills, completely unaware that he just accidentally saved a city and ruined the villain's entire master plan. Then, his system window pops up saying he can choose a new skill. Outside the portal, something starts to emerge, and the entire evil clan drops to their knees, waiting for their great demon king. But Feng appears with his typical clueless expression and that stupid face of his, and everyone just stares. Feng says, "What the hell is going on here?" And while the clan leader is going crazy wondering where his demon king is, well, in case you're curious, the poor guy is whining about being trapped in ice. The leader looks at Feng's beginner gear and thinks there's no way this noob is related to the Demon King, and figures maybe Feng is an opportunist trying to ally with the Demon King, but got scared by the dark energy. So he yells out asking if Feng is there to join them. Our boy just replies, "No, it's none of your business," because he literally has no clue what's going on. The leader gets furious and introduces himself as Guo, an A-rank criminal with over 100 kills. Feng couldn't care less and tells them to fight or get lost. The whole clan starts threatening him until suddenly the area goes dark, and a terrifying and malevolent face appears above them, scaring everyone. That's when Feng decides to test out his new forbidden spell called Sorrow of Abuse. This skill traps people in an illusion realm and reveals all their weaknesses so he can torture them with precision. It's absolutely sadistic, but incredibly effective. Feng scans the clan leader and finds out he has a shoulder injury from using improper gear, which reduces his strength, agility, and skill. So Feng hits that exact spot, and the guy screams in pain, not understanding what's happening to him. In the illusion world, Feng can repeatedly attack the weaknesses of the trapped enemies, like a demon toying with its prey. He thinks the skill might be sadistic, but it's perfect for exploiting enemy vulnerabilities after the massacre. The captain finally goes up the mountain to check the situation, finding Guo and his entire crew completely wiped out. He wonders how an A-level criminal, along with his subordinates, was completely annihilated. This is insane. Because 4 teams of adventurers had been sacrificed to hunt this guy down and none succeeded, and now they find their bodies like this. So no one wanted to believe it. His partner asks him about the situation inside the secret realm. The captain enters the secret realm and everything is frozen, with no living monsters. When his team asks about the Demon King, the captain reports that it has been destroyed. He even approached the ice coffin to confirm it, and when it fell, it didn't drop any items or give any experience, which means the boss was already dead when he found it. The guy is terrified, even in death, and his team asks if the secret realm invasion is still happening if the Demon King is dead, and the captain just stares at the dead Demon King, thinking to himself, "Don't ask me, guys. I'm already scared enough." Fen returns to Duan's house and calls him back from training. Poor Duan shows up saying he's stuck at level 45 and feels like he's let Fen down, but our boy is actually calm, telling Duan that the real goal was just to understand the trial situation. He promises him intense training next week, which excites Duan, who asks what he wants for dinner before rushing off. Fen just watches his friend's enthusiasm. Then he sits down to play. That's when he gets the most unexpected message, Old Man Lao, asking him to play together and claiming he's great as a level 6 tank. Apparently, Fen thinks, someone hacked this guy's account, until he gets an audio message confirming it's real. Obviously, it turns out that he, the old hothead, plays with his grandson who is busy with entrance exams. They team up, win a match, and Lao suggests that Fen could play with his grandson sometime since they're the same age. Fen agrees, thinking that this relationship could be useful for his future plans. Then, Lao drops information about 3 major universities organizing a training camp to select students, with 2 spots still available. Fen realizes that Although forbidden spells are powerful, if he has to fight gods without any combat experience, he's done for, so he accepts the offer, and Lao reserves both spots in case Fen wants to bring a partner. Speaking of partners, showing his grandson's photo, Old Man Lao says, "You two have a lot in common. Who knows, maybe you'll even become good friends." The scene changes to the school, where everyone is complaining about the higher university standards and how even current students are failing the assessments. A classmate gets annoyed, pointing at the sleeping Fen and asking if 3-star awakened are the same as those of lower ranks. Then, Teacher Chi announces a new student, and all the guys immediately lose their minds when Chang Mu-kyu enters the classroom. Fen wakes up, remembering that this is the girl who caused trouble in the secret realm, the very same one. The one he basically stole equipment from after her team was wiped out. Everyone is asking if she is really the 4th on the supernova list. And if she comes from a prestigious big city school, then she asks to sit next to Feng and the teacher. The teacher thinks it is a great idea. She walks over and sits next to Feng, and the whole group of guys just wants to beat him up, cursing Feng and wondering why all the beautiful girls are drawn to this bastard. In the principal's office, Principal Yang is losing his mind, asking Principal Feng what dirty tricks he used to steal Chang Mu-kyu from his school. Feng plays innocent while Yang explains that. Losing Mu-kyu also means losing a spot in the training camp, which could ruin his school's passing rate. Feng smirks inwardly, realizing Yang is in deep trouble, since there are only 4 slots in the entire province, and 2 already went to his school, and now one of those students has transferred to his. Then the assistant announces that a big shot from the Adventurer Management Department is there, and both principals nearly have a heart attack. It is like the president showing up unannounced at your local community college. The old man walks in with his grandson, Feng Rui. Hey, what the hell? Why is everyone named Feng in this manga? The author could not come up with other names. Well, anyway, the old man's grandson is ranked 12th nationally as a blood knight with dark powers, uncontrollable, that could put him in the top 5 if he mastered them. Feng asks the old man how he can help him, and the old man says his grandsons want to transfer to his school. Yang's jaw drops. He wonders why they would choose a regular school like this one. Then he realizes that everyone on the national supernova list gets a spot in the training camp, which means Feng's school just gained an extra slot. Then Lao mentions casually that they have 2 training slots to assign, and Yang's jaw hits the floor because that is almost all the slots for their entire province. Feng does not waste the opportunity to rub it in his face before kicking him out. He basically tells him, "Hey, can't you see the important people are talking, so get lost, man." His face here is hilarious. Then Feng gets straight to the point, asking if the slots are really for Ning Feng from class 2 of the 3rd year, since the guy only awakened recently. Lao simply says it is up to the department and Feng should not question it. The principal thinks about how the Adventurer Management Department operates independently from the 7 great guilds with enormous influence, wondering how the hell Feng got connected with this guy. Back in class, Feng is confused to see all his friends from the Lion Guild transferred to his school. Shu cheerfully explains that they wanted to be closer to him and mentions they tried to bring Yao Chung along too, but he refused. So she took his place. Meanwhile, Wong Yu and Mukyu are in some kind of intense stare-down, probably sizing each other up as romantic rivals. The Berserker is excited to meet Lao's grandson, and Feng Rui is very polite, saying that he hopes to have everyone's support. Meanwhile, Mukyu is panicking, thinking that she is not the only one interested in Feng and that she needs to level up her game. She prepared some gifts, but she needs the right moment. The rest of the class watches this group with pure envy, wondering how the hell Feng put together such a ridiculously impressive team. And even without him, this group would be the strongest in any high school nationwide. Feng thinks things have gotten more exciting, but he's curious why Yao Chun turned down a spot in the training camp, and why no one seems worried about his disappearance. Then, just as we thought, the scene changes to that bastard's house. His father is sitting there worried, while a guard reports that there's still no news about the missing young master. His father had hired experienced investigators and managed to get Yao Chung a school leave. extended under the pretext of special training. The school thought it was a waste to give up the training camp spot, but didn't ask too many questions. Then things get suspicious. The father enters the room of Yao-chun and touches a picture on the wall that opens a hidden door. He enters this secret room with a dark altar, looking suspicious as hell. Either this family is into some occult stuff, or the father knows a lot more about his son's disappearance than he's letting on. Back at school, it's time to exchange gifts. 2. Rui Feng pulls out a super rare and valuable skill book for summoning water elements, Mukyu counters with a sword enchantment book. For battle mages, another rare profession skill. Both are trying to impress Feng with premium gifts, but here's the catch. Feng can't learn either of those skills. Because when he tried to enter a secondary secret realm to unlock new skill bars, the system blocked him for not having a party of 5 people. So he's sitting on these amazing gifts that he literally can't use. Instead of making it awkward, Feng makes a total power move and pulls out 40 advanced experience potions, giving 20 to each of them. Mukyu is shocked, saying, "Isn't this an exclusive treasure of the Azure Guild?" Rui thinks about how these potions are highly valued at the auction house and are rarely available. And the fact that Feng has 40 of them means this guy is actually someone super important. And suddenly, the conversation shifts to thighs. Yu approaches our boy, saying she has a gift for him too, and then pulls out a shiny new potion that Su Wei refined. She hands the potion to Feng, and our boy is genuinely impressed with what Four Eyes accomplished. Cut to Dwayne's house, where Dwayne is wondering if Feng forgot about the promised hellish training, since he hasn't mentioned it. NATO Feng shows up early, explaining that students in the training camp have flexible schedules. Then he hands Duan a nourishing potion that heals accumulated internal injuries. Feng tells him to drink the potion first, and then they'll start the training. Duan is thrilled, thinking the hellish training is finally starting, and he chugs the potion right away. So, Feng asks Duan how he feels after drinking that healing potion, and Duan replies that his body is warming up and those nagging injuries feel lighter. Our boy thinks that this stuff really works, as it almost healed his own curse-inflicted wounds. Then says it's time for some hellish training. Duan is practically vibrating with excitement, yelling that he understands and that he can't wait to get started. Feng tells him to speak up the moment he can't continue, then starts using his skill, Pain of Abuse, to analyze Duan's weaknesses. He sees that Duan's lung injury is healing thanks to the potion, but he also notices that his energy overload skill has been causing accumulated damage, resulting in a 2% loss of strength, reduced stamina, and an 11% drop in skill effectiveness. Feng explains that energy overload isn't suitable for him because of the lung damage, and his skill combinations are all wrong. Duan is shocked that our guy spotted all these problems so quickly. Then Feng yells, "The training begins now," and immediately attacks Duan, changing direction at the last second. Duan gets the idea, but it's too late. He takes a direct hit and falls to his knees. When Feng asks him how he's doing, Duan says he's fine and can continue. Feng thinks about how his previous test subjects helped him learn to use this skill without completely destroying someone's consciousness. The pain is unavoidable, but at least Duan won't lose his mind. Despite the agony, Duan gets up, thinking that his master is probably the only person in the world who can make him stronger, and he's not going to waste this opportunity. After some intense training, we cut to Duan in the actual training field, facing off against a demon, but now he's like a completely different fighter, effortlessly dodging, jumping over the demon, and spinning in midair while concentrating energy into his dagger and then plunging it into the demon's back. The creature roars in pain, and Duan finishes it off easily, smiling and asking for the next stage. Jin is surprised, saying there are no more stages. They've already used up all the monster data that Duan provided. That's when our guy collapses from exhaustion, but he's overwhelmed with happiness, crying, because the training from his master allowed him to clear the entire training field. Old Lao can't believe what he's witnessing. Raising a 4th transformation warrior to this level in just half a month is basically impossible. He calls it a miracle and says that the agency definitely needs to maintain good relations with the mysterious big boss. His head starts to heat up again, and when Jin worries about him, he just laughs, saying that Reaching his age as a transformer is already a blessing. Jin thinks that the old man sent his grandson to study in Shinju to pass the torch, but she's still worried about the price of the dark power that's constantly consuming his life. She wonders if the big boss might have a solution. Lao looks thoughtful. The king watches Duan on the ground and says that they'll discuss it later. First, they need to prepare Duan for the Secret Realm's trial. At the Sharp Blue Guild, Lao and Duan arrive at a huge reception with Lu Jingjian introducing himself as the guild leader. Wu Yu has the 7 guild presidents lined up behind him. Duan thinks that all of these are 5th transformation warriors, or close to it, and that not even his master could gather this kind of crowd just for a greeting. He realizes that the divine appearance incident really shook everyone, and that the only person who remained calm in front of actual gods was his master, which explains why he deserves his legendary status. Meanwhile, Shu is confused as to why Jin Chen is making such a big deal out of welcoming a 4th transformation warrior, especially since Jin Chen just broke through to the 5th transformation. He's stressed out, thinking that all these old foxes are just using the secret realm as networking opportunities to benefit themselves. Then they head straight to the portal, and Shu tells Duan that everyone admires having someone strong there and they hope he can show off his strength. Duan doesn't really pay attention and just says, yeah, because he has more important things on his mind. That's when he places his phone on a tripod, aiming it at the battlefield, so Feng can watch everything remotely. All the guild leaders crowd around the phone, wanting to know if the mysterious big boss is really going to watch them. Cut to Duan's house, where Feng is lazing on the couch, watching everything unfold. He comments on Duan's impressive speed as his friend starts launching attacks at full speed that leave everyone stunned. 2. Jinjian says his skills are incredible. His speed has multiplied several times, while Shu asks if Duan is really only a 4th transformation. They're watching this guy move so fast that he's already surpassed President Lu's performance. Then, Duan faces a huge demon, but instead of being intimidated, he finishes it off with complete calm without even breaking a sweat. The system congratulates him for successfully completing the trial, and everyone is left speechless because no one expected him to actually pull it off. But this is where it gets wild. Duan looks up and sees a bright light as the system informs him that he's received the blessing of the gods as a first completion reward, which turns out to be a forbidden spell from the gods themselves. All the guild leaders lose their minds. Upon learning that divine blessings are literally forbidden spells, Shu has a complete meltdown, realizing it's a first clear reward, which means no one else can get it now. Since it's his secret realm, he thinks that reward should have been his. Then comes the hilarious yet tragic plot twist. The system scans Dwayne's body and tells him that his profession level isn't advanced enough to learn the forbidden spell, so Dwayne is left confused about why he can't learn it, and old Lao is just as baffled. Meanwhile, Feng watches through his phone, recalling the Demon King's memories and realizing that the professions in this world have not yet reached their ideal form, which probably explains why the system blocked Duan. The system decides to be helpful and adjusts the reward to a Divine Grace emblem. Instead, the system explains that he has 3 distinct profession paths to choose from, all blessed by the sacred spirit of the 12 primordial gods. The options are pretty brutal. First is the spiritual swordmaster, who controls swords with life energy for decisive and deadly attacks. Next, the supreme combat saint, who never uses external items, only pure martial arts with devastating fists and kicks. Finally, the celestial warrior who masters various weapons while analyzing enemy skills during battle. Since Duan uses a dagger, he chooses spiritual swordmaster because it makes the most sense. After selecting his path, he gets the Divine Grace emblem, which grants him permanent stat boosts, 4 points to strength and stamina, plus 80% faster life energy recovery. The system explains that this contains fundamental rules of the universe and tells him not to be afraid, just to focus on absorbing it. But this is when everything goes completely insane. As Dwayne absorbs this divine power, the sky lights up with a global system message announcing that someone completed the Trial of the Gods on difficulty, world class, with a divine emblem drop rate between 0 and 1%. This wasn't just shown locally. The entire world saw this announcement. People grabbed their phones, recording this cosmic notification and wonder what the hell just happened. Fen looks out the window, seeing the message, and receives a system notification asking him to clear the secret realm and use its power to his advantage. At the trial site, all the guild leaders are panicking over the world difficulty announcement. Ark mentions that people everywhere saw the message, confirming it was global. When Dwan exits the portal, every guild president rushes towards him. Jinjin thinks that Dwan's strength can no longer be measured as a fourth transformation warrior and believes that the global evaluation system will be revolutionized by him. Everyone is trying to recruit him. The Illuminati Guild, the Epoch Guild, and the Wei Yu Guild. They all want a piece of this warrior who suddenly became legendary, but Dwan just smiles and politely declines, saying he's not interested in joining any guild for now. He returns home, excited, and tells Feng that he succeeded without letting him down. Our boy congratulates him, saying it was all thanks to his own efforts. Then Feng sketches the emblem's design, asking if it matches what Dwan saw. Dwan nods, saying it has the same shape and asks if Feng knows anything about these emblems. Feng casually mentions that he got one after completing a mission and that he gave it to Wong Yu as if it were nothing. Dwan can hardly believe that his master gives away divine items like candy, feeling like his efforts are never enough, but Feng's mind is already elsewhere. If the emblems are formed with divine power and he also possesses that power, maybe he can obtain emblems in common domains. More importantly, they just learned about the existence of the 12 gods and wonder if they'll have to face them all. Dwan explains that the 7 great guilds are already mobilizing to hunt for more trial realms after seeing the success of his divine emblem. All the guilds are going to get involved in this treasure hunt, which means things are about to get very competitive. Feng's brain immediately goes into strategy mode, wondering if the system considers completed trials as missions and if he could control the people who pass them, but then he realizes the real problem. The divine emblems are good, but the forbidden magic rewards are the real threat. If that kind of power falls into enemy hands, it would be a serious danger to him. Besides, exposing his existence to the gods would create even bigger headaches. Feng contemplates how to ensure only his people pass those trials, when Dwan interrupts him saying he has something else to share, but that he's not sure if he did the right thing. Here comes the juicy story of what happened at the Asura Sharp Guild. It turns out that, according to his contract, all the rewards from the trial were supposed to go to the Asura Sharp Guild. Dwan handed over the items he obtained, but explained that he couldn't give them the divine emblem because he had already absorbed it. Shi'u was furious, demanding the emblem, but only had the guts to threaten him in his head. The guild leaders were impressed with the high-level items, especially with a Potion of Oblivion formula that can remove specific skills and free up slots. Since leveling up is difficult and skill choices determine the future, this potion is basically a reset button for a character's entire build. Shi'u thinks that this could change the world, just like experience potions, and if they monopolize it, the Asura Sharp Guild could surpass the official guilds by attracting powerful players. When Shi'u demands secrets about the formula, Dwan mentions casually that he had already seen that exact formula before thanks to the great mysterious boss. Everyone's jaws drop because they thought the first completion rewards were unique and never before seen. Shi'u despairs, insisting that it's impossible for the mysterious boss to know secrets of the trial, but Dwayne says that even the potions of high-level experience they have were produced by that boss a long time ago. The guild leaders start connecting the dots, realizing that Dwayne's incredible power might come from using those potions created by the mysterious boss. Meanwhile, old Lao is smiling widely watching the chaos, when Jinjin asks him why he's so happy. Lao basically tells him to mind his own business. He remembers how his grandson mentioned that Ning Feng could get 40 experience potions from the mysterious boss because that guy doesn't care about such small treasures. Lao congratulates himself for the masterstroke of transferring his grandson to that school. On the way out, Lao asks Dwan if the mysterious boss has other potions, explaining that dark forces corrupt his body every day, and that he wants to live longer to be with his grandson. The vulnerability hits hard. This powerful old man just wants more time with his family. Dwayne promises to ask his boss, and Lau is genuinely grateful. Back at home, Dwan apologizes for making decisions independently, but Feng reassures him, saying he did nothing wrong. In fact, our boy is interested in helping Lau if he can, wondering if the nurturing potion could work against the dark corruption in the old man's body. After thinking for a bit, he takes out some potions and tells Duan to deliver a few bottles of nourishing elixir to old Lau, and our boy doesn't waste a second going to deliver them at Lau's company. Jing explains that the old man is in an important meeting at the main office, so she offers to hold the elixirs until he returns. He then goes to check on Rufen's room, wondering if the kid is even there, since he just arrived in Shinjuku City and doesn't know anyone, but an ominous aura seeps out from under Rui Feng's door. Rui Feng, inside, the poor boy is kneeling on the floor, trembling and sweating, while a sinister voice offers to save his grandfather's life in exchange for his mission. Rui Feng shows his character, shouting that he is the grandson of the great Lao Feng, and demanding to know how that voice dares to make demonic deals with humans. 1. The voice just laughs, calling humans weak creatures bound by strange rules. 2. Mocking how long he will resist. Then it delivers the final psychological blow, hoping he continues talking so bravely when he sees his grandfather die before his very eyes. 3. Later, at the training ground, Rui Feng is sitting alone, looking absolutely miserable when Feng shows up, wondering why he looks so troubled. Our boy tries to cheer him up, suggesting they play Three Kingdoms on his phone, but Rui Feng apologizes, explaining that his grandfather doesn't allow games at school. Feng plays it cool, saying they can play when Grandpa gets back and mentions how impressive Lau's gaming skills are. That's when we get a heartbreaking backstory. Rui Feng explains that his parents died on a mission when he was little, leaving him completely shattered and withdrawn. He became antisocial and locked himself in his room all day, and his grandfather didn't know how to help, until he remembered that the boy used to love battle games, so Lao Feng secretly learned how to play them, just to connect with his traumatized grandson. During Rui's darkest moments, it was his grandfather who stayed by his side, helping him come out of the shadows. Meanwhile, in a meeting room, Lao receives a report with some really bad news. They're looking at Ponji, a 4-star professional who was imprisoned 8 years ago for malicious injury, but mysteriously disappeared from prison 6 years ago. Then there's Gujing, another 4-star professional whose supervised variant disappeared from home 5 years ago. The two of them both suddenly reappeared and brutally murdered 2 elderly adventurers and their families at Ponji's old house, leaving no survivors. Third, these murdered adventurers were 4th transformation experts, but they were completely destroyed by these supposed 3rd transformation assassins. The recordings from surveillance show Jin Jin effortlessly dodging a sword strike and then systematically piercing the adventurer's body with multiple stabs, giving him no chance to fight back. Everyone present breaks out in a cold sweat because it's clear that Jin somehow surpassed the power of the 5th transformation. Even Lao admits that in a direct confrontation, he probably wouldn't be a match for Jing. Now everyone is wondering what the hell Jing went through during those missing years to jump from the 3rd to beyond the 5th transformation. That kind of progress doesn't happen naturally. Someone or something definitely gave him a huge upgrade, and it wasn't through normal training methods. Cut to the Chun family, where Mr. Chen paces nervously until Jin and Pungi walk in. Chen asks if they found any clues about his missing son, and Pungi says he sensed extremely powerful dark forces. He explains that low-level favored ones can only use dark power with blessings from demon lords, but the true favored ones, like them, are personally summoned and trained by demon lords in secret realms for long periods. Punji believes that Chen's son caught the attention of a demon lord and was invited to this exclusive evil training program. Chen gets excited, thinking that this means his family will finally be able to compete with the Wong group, and bro, What the hell? Your son could be getting corrupted by literal demons and you're thinking about business advantages. Panhei inspected the dark ritual room and confirmed the preparation was correct. As long as the son continues to make sacrifices, his potential should attract the demon lord's attention. He then hands Chen a piece of paper asking for transportation to a marked location because they're going to visit a future disciple. Meanwhile, Rufen is having flashbacks about how his parents sacrificed themselves to seal an uncontrollable entrance to a secret realm, saving the entire city. The heroic legacy makes what's about to happen even more tragic. He's looking at the stars through his window when someone knocks on his door. Two sinister-looking men appear, and when Rui Feng asks who they're looking for, Panhei confirms his identity with an evil smile. They want to come in and talk, and when Rui becomes suspicious because of their dangerous aura, Panhei calls him Master and says they're there to take care of him. From now on, they should be called senior brothers. They mention that he met their master the night before, and he recognizes the same dark aura from the voice that tried to tempt him. Without hesitating, he puts on his armor and prepares to fight, because he knows exactly what those guys represent, but the power difference is brutal. He barely has time to react before they grab his head and throw him against a wall, which shatters under Panhei's strength. The blonde guy gets furious, asking how Rui dares to attack his senior brother. Next thing you know, the gorilla-like guy is grabbing Rui's head and our boy struggles to get Panhei's hand off his skull. Seeing that Rui has no intention of calming down, Panhei lands a brutal punch to his stomach that leaves him coughing up blood. Panhei lifts the beaten boy and delivers the classic villain speech. Their master values him greatly and is willing to grant him great power that could save his grandfather's life. All he has to do is become a great expert by joining the dark side. No, Rui makes it very clear that he would never accept that deal, which shows some serious courage, considering he's being beaten up at that very moment. But then Jing reports that he searched the house and old man Lao isn't there. The blonde maniac is disappointed, saying he wanted to greet the veteran. Rui starts begging them not to harm his grandfather. And that's when Panhei drops the final psychological warfare bomb. He lets go of the boy's head, letting him fall face first to the floor, and then explains how sacrificing loved ones can unleash even greater dark power. He gives Rui 3 days to think about it. Accept becoming their disciple, and they'll let bygones be bygones. But if he refuses, the grandfather will die. Looking at a photo of Rui and his grandfather, Panhei comments that it would make a fitting headstone. Meanwhile, Feng is in some dungeon annihilating demons with his staff, frustrated because he can't find suitable places to level up efficiently. The system does its thing and calls it a piece of cake mission, while reminding him that he has 43 days left to complete the second transformation or die. At that moment, he gets a call from Duan. Feng can tell by the tone that it's something serious. Duan says he received a call from old Lao and that he wants to become the apprentice of the mysterious Grandmaster. Cut to the hospital, where Feng is visiting Rui, who's trying to stay positive despite being in the special monitoring ward. A place for mutants with dark powers. The boy had never seen a place like it, and Feng jokes that no normal person would be admitted there. At the hospital reception, Lao shows pictures of Pan, Hei, and Jin, explaining that they are extremely dangerous threats to public safety. The government is taking it seriously, but has no viable solutions. He mentions that he's still hoping that the mysterious boss will accept his proposal, and Duan clarifies that it's not about taking disciples, but about finding opportunities to help with training. Apparently, Feng prefers a peaceful life, but he doesn't want the bad guys to go unpunished. The old man asks what the boss needs, and Duan explains that he wants an independent, secret, discreet, and convenient training space. Additionally, the old man could undergo special training there too. Lao agrees to provide a satisfactory answer quickly, but then they hear a noise and rush towards Rui's room. It turns out those bastards, Pan, Hei, and Jin, are in the hospital room with a fruit basket, acting like concerned, apologetic visitors. The blonde one apologizes, saying it was his fault for being rude and putting Rui in the hospital, so he felt guilty and came to see him. Upon seeing those bastards, Grandpa goes into full Ghost Rider mode, ready to burn them alive. Panhei turns around and asks the old man if he plans to fight them in a place like this. At that moment, Lao wants nothing more than to kill those bastards, but he can't fight in a public place that would endanger innocent people. so he calms down. After that, they just walk past him, and on their way out, they mess with Duan, where the bastard proves why he's a jerk and spits on him. Duan also wanted nothing more than to beat them, but he held back out of respect for old Lao. Lao apologizes to him, but Duan says there's no need for that. Meanwhile, our boy Feng enters Rui's room and goes straight for the fruit. He says they look nice and fresh, so it would be a waste not to eat them. Later that same day, we get a scene of Pan He, Jin, and Chen's father enjoying themselves, drinking with some women. The blonde guy mentions that Wong Yu, from the wine group, is interesting, and Chen laughs, saying that his son planned to use her as a sacrifice, but that Pan He can take her instead. Just some casual human trafficking talk over cocktails. These guys are absolutely vile. That's when the wall suddenly explodes and Feng and Duan make their dramatic entrance through the dust and rubble. Dous Chen is furious, demanding to know who they are, and Duan orders everyone, except Pan He and Jin, to leave immediately. The two killers just smile, saying that finally they came for them, that they've been waiting for this showdown. Jin wastes no time and lunges at Duan with his lightning sword, but Duan effortlessly blocks the attack with his dagger, leaving Jin completely bewildered. Duan realizes that Jin has surpassed the level of the 5th transformation, and that without his master's training and the divine blessing, he would have been defeated instantly. Jin's friend is surprised, wondering how Duan blocked so easily, but then he assumes that Duan just needs to buy time to give the protagonist an opening to attack, so he turns around, expecting to see some epic battle coordination, only to find our boy sitting calmly, opening a snack, and eating it coolly as if he were watching a movie. So Duan doesn't waste a second attacking immediately and telling Jin not to get distracted during combat. Jin becomes enraged, summons his full battle gear, and charges at Duan, their attacks colliding with a massive explosion of energy that makes all the civilians tremble in terror, too scared to leave, but definitely not wanting to stay to witness this supernatural duel. Meanwhile, Mr. Chen notices that Pengji is radiating a sinister aura, and the blonde psycho decides that it's also time to release his power, but there's Feng, completely unfazed, casually commenting on how delicious the melon seeds taste. The man is doing a snack review while literal demons are powering up around him. Finally, Pengji attacks our boy, who calmly gets up from his chair to defend himself. The assassin steps back, powers up his sword even more, and summons his intimidating armor for maximum psychological effect, but Feng is not impressed, activating his passive skill, Murderous Nature, which continuously increases all his stats by up to 100% when using melee magic weapons. Pengji sees Feng's aura and wonders if he might be facing a battle mage, questioning how such a powerful one could exist. Then, he notices a crack forming under his feet and barely manages to dodge Feng's black thorn attack, only to realize it was just a distraction for the real attack from behind. The blonde manages to block at the last second, but he thinks that Feng's techniques seem unimpressive, as if he were an inexperienced rookie. Then, his survival instinct kicks in and he realizes that maybe it's intentional, that perhaps there's some trick he's missing. So he stays on guard as he throws another powerful blow, but Feng just waits patiently, defending the first, second, and third attacks, until he sees an opening and strikes at Pengji's neck. The assassin blocks, but he can't stop Feng from attacking his entire body relentlessly. That's when Pengji realizes something is very wrong. The protagonist is getting stronger with every moment of combat, which is exactly what that passive skill does. Cornered, Pengji desperately yells to wait, wanting to negotiate, when Feng decides to hear him out for a moment. The assassins suggest they sit down and talk, since they are both powerful and there's no need to fight to the death. Feng says there's nothing to talk about. The situation is beautifully simple. Pengji dies, and he lives. This enrages the blondie, who calls him arrogant, claiming that in his master's eyes, Feng is nothing more than an insignificant insect. That sparks Feng's curiosity, making him wonder if that master could be the demon king of the secret realm. Pengji confirms it and begins an intimidating monologue about how his master is beyond human comprehension, has killed countless demon kings from various secret realms, and enjoys making ornaments from the bones of powerful enemies. But instead of being terrified, Feng gets excited asking if the master really killed demon kings and collected their remains. That bastard thought our boy got scared? But no, Feng just smiles and asks him, "So, would you mind telling me where that great master of yours is hiding?" Outside the building, old Lao's team has arrived on the scene. Jin confirms that the battle is happening on the top floor of a Yao Corporation property, and the witnesses identified the residents as likely being Punji and Jin. Lao wastes no time and casts detection magic towards the building to observe the situation. He confirms that it really is Punji getting a beating, plus, he notices the masked guy has visible magic and must be using camouflage. Meanwhile, upstairs the battle rages on and our boy's attributes have reached 60% and keep rising thanks to that passive skill. Lao is impressed to see these simple and direct techniques completely dominating an opponent through sheer statistical advantage. He wonders where the hell such a powerful warrior could have come from, as Feng's attributes reach 80%. Punji pulls out his final card, transforming into a colossal and terrifying monster with a huge demonic mouth that swallows Feng whole. The blondie thinks he never imagined someone would force him to use this technique, although he knows it comes with serious costs. Old Lao observes this monstrous transformation, saying, "Holy cow, the intensity of the battle just skyrocketed." Meanwhile, Dwayne continues to fight calmly against Jin, who asks him if he isn't worried that his partner has been devoured. Dwayne replies that Jin doesn't need to worry about his master because he's not qualified to do so. Then he slashes him and Jin can't dodge the swift attack, adding that apparently he isn't qualified at that moment either. Mr. Chen starts cheering about how incredible Punji is and how those two nobodies aren't even opponents for him. Without mercy, the monster splits Chen in two right in front of the terrified women. Then he comments that Chen was the useless one, releasing even more power. Punji declares that since he has transformed, he might as well devour stronger enemies. He looks directly at Lao's observation orb, which terrifies the old man as he realizes he's been discovered. Just as this bastard was about to unleash his villain monologue, a massive explosion erupts from inside Punji, leaving him completely confused about what is happening. Then, Feng emerges from inside the monster, and Punji collapses with its stomach completely burst open after our boy casually walks out of its stomach. He thinks about how he's been using these skills for a while, but he's still not familiar with actual combat. Meanwhile, Jing goes crazy, screaming over his partner's shattered body, but Duan just says, "Don't be sad, you'll see him soon," as he slices him in half. Feng approaches the dying Jing, telling him not to die yet because he wants information. Cut to the secret realm of the Bloody Mist Valley, where a servant reports intruders at the entrance. The Demon King orders everyone to stay away because he suspects they came specifically for him, revealing shattered gems, the only artifacts of Pungi and Jing, confirming they are both dead. Before dying, Jing activated his artifact, allowing the Demon King to hear someone ask where his master was. Jing revealed that his master was in the secret realm of Mount Yusu and promised revenge. The Demon King decides to handle this personally, since anyone capable of killing his enhanced subordinates would destroy the normal servants. They think about how their minions can only rely on their power, while special races like humans can level up independently through sacrificial techniques. He then takes a skull from his armor, remembering how he used to be a common Demon King, until he stumbled upon the legacy of a high-ranking Demon King through those teachings. He gained immense power and learned human control, repeatedly defeating enemies and turning them into trophies. Feng appears and immediately raises the place with Thunder God's descent, summoning a massive storm with celestial powers. He was bored because the dense fog prevented him from seeing anything and he hadn't found any monsters yet. His solution was basically to bombard the entire area with divine lightning. The Demon King gets completely fried by this casual area of effect attack. Then, Feng's system detects the legacy of the end, and he gets excited, thinking his system isn't broken. Following the source of the aura, he finds what he was looking for in the hand of a black statue that was actually the Demon King he had just electrocuted to a crisp. Our boy has no idea that he just one-shotted the main villain while looking for loot. He begins to absorb the legacy fragments, wondering why there's only one when there should be countless relics, 4. After absorption, His attributes increase by 100 points without using any skills. He levels up to level 40 and can learn new techniques. He says he can now crush most adventurers. Finally, he picks up a skill book for a summoning curse, wondering if he could summon a great demon king and if that would make him even more of an evil god. So Feng decides to learn the skill first, Gate of Darkness, and deal with the consequences later. This forbidden spell allows him to open dark gates to summon a constant stream of dark creatures for 12 hours, or a high-level demon lord indefinitely. At first, he thinks it might not be useful, but then he realizes he can summon an unlimited demon lord, and he changes his mind real quick. Meanwhile, at Lao's headquarters, Duan explains how tough those enhanced assassins were, and that they left no survivors for security reasons. Lao is grateful for having his life and his entire family saved, not knowing how to repay the favor. Jin says that the officials trusted the master's judgment and showed goodwill while suppressing skeptical voices. Otherwise, Pungi and Jin could have caused massive damage. Then Lao says that several training sites were approved immediately because the country values the mysterious master. He hands over envelopes with information about carefully constructed facilities, which offer an excellent environment, infrastructure, and privacy. Duan suspects that his master just wants cover for secret training methods, so he lets Feng choose for himself. They visit the training base, and Feng is impressed by its size. Duan explains that it's a newly built adventurer base called Area 51, which hasn't been used yet. If the mysterious master accepts it, the entire base will be assigned directly to him. Feng can't believe all of this is really his. And honestly, who could? The tour reveals a 10-story building with training zones, offices, a leisure area, and common spaces for about 2,000 people. There are intelligent control systems, advanced dining halls, and rooftop gardens. Duan assures him he could stay there for years if he needs to. Feng gets excited, thinking he can finally cultivate his own forces, since the place is perfect. At the meeting with Lao, to finalize the arrangements, the old man laughs, saying he expected the master to choose Base 51. He explains that since Feng saved Chinju City twice, Longbow City once, and eliminated major threats, the country provides strong support to its heroes. The base is completely free of charge. All he has to do is sign the documents. Feng is surprised by how kind the officials are. Duan mentions that his master doesn't like mundane affairs, so the management of the base will be left to him and Ning Feng. Lao offers to help with the formation of a guild, but Duan asks if there's a way to access information without creating one, since his master isn't skilled with internet stuff. Lao explains that for national-level experts, like the Grandmaster, they can arrange a dedicated information channel. As long as it's not highly confidential, the information is synchronized and shared with the intelligence agency. Feng realizes that they are treating the mysterious master like a national-level expert, which is much more efficient than gathering information manually between him and Duan, thinking about transforming the base into something other than a guild since there's no shortage of high-quality resources. Duan tells Lao that the special training for him is organized for next week and the old man is happy. It's then that Lao receives a call about mysterious disappearances, similar to the Pungi and Jin cases, fearing that similar individuals will appear again. This worries him deeply, because even with special training, he can't fight enemies alone. He wonders if there is any way to train strong people fast, quickly. That same night, Lao visits his grandson and notices a suitcase, immediately asking where Rui is headed. Rudy Feng is all excited, explaining to his grandfather that the Supernova training camp is about to start and that Ning Feng organized a special training for them. He received a call saying he had to be at the base of training in 2 days, so he's packing early so he won't be late. When his grandfather asks how many people are going, Rui says 5 in total, including himself. This gets Lao so excited that he literally turns into Ghost Rider again, with his head engulfed in flames. Poor Rui has to warn him that his head is on fire, but Lao reassures him by saying he took the medicine that Duan gave him and that he's clearly getting better, although the dark power is still hard to control. Lao rephrases his question, wanting to know what kind of people Ning Feng invited. Rui explains that they are just good friends and that, aside from himself, the others have known Ning Feng for a long time. This makes the grandfather even more excited, thinking that the Great Master will take care of those close to him. He kneels down to help him pack and advises him to listen carefully to Ning Feng, as it is a rare opportunity. He also reminds him to control his pace and not to forget to call when he's ready for ranked matches. Rui gets confused by his grandfather's sudden burst of enthusiasm. At the training base, Wong Yu's group arrives and she comments, intrigued, that this seems to be the place Ning Feng mentioned, but there's nothing but forests. Then, they notice something strange and are teleported to where Feng and Lao's grandson are waiting for them. Everyone is amazed by the place, noting that not even the main bases of the 7 great guilds can compare to this location. The blonde girl immediately asks how Feng found such a place. He smiles, explaining that it belongs to one of his older friends and he borrowed it. Wong Yu thinks to herself that she never heard Feng mention those friends, and that he has become more and more mysterious since his awakening. Feng introduces Duan as the person in charge during the training, and everyone greets him. When the Berserker asks if Feng knows Duan well, he gets irritated and says that the celestial phenomenon from a while ago was caused by Duan passing the trial of the gods, and that he is even stronger than the leader of the Wu Guild. Everyone is shocked, and they immediately head to the training ground. On the field, they get excited and release their auras. Duan is impressed, wondering why they suddenly got so fired up. Meanwhile, Feng watches, thinking that by casting a forbidden spell to simulate the effects of a training room, they won't have to worry about exposure. He also considers establishing a guild, cultivating only the strong, with no limitations and selecting members purely based on strength and determination to create an alliance. Ju starts first, but immediately gets hit in the arm and screams in pain. The sense of dread he got from the environment was incredibly real, and he thinks that this training would definitely break anyone's will if it wasn't controlled. He wonders if Ning Feng endured such cruel trials to become stronger, not knowing that he's the one who is creating this nightmarish scenario. Jin Shu reflects that neither he nor Shu are supernovas, and they never dared to hope to surpass others' talent through hard work, but Feng showed them there is hope. Rui thinks that he can't always depend on his grandfather's protection, and that he wants to protect the people he cares about. Meanwhile, Sue remains silent and our boy Feng smiles, saying that everyone is doing great. So they all end up completely exhausted after the forbidden magic torture session, commenting that they feel as if they've been suffering for centuries and are almost dead. Duan comes in, declaring that's enough for today and announces specific training for tomorrow. They go to a VIP room where Yu admits that, although the special training has just started, the gains already surpass those of previous years. She emphasizes that it's impossible to identify weaknesses by relying solely on self-assessment. Rui Feng reflects that his dark power felt strange during the training, and even when giving it his all, there were no signs of it going out of control. The forbidden magic training environment is so intense that it's actually stabilizing his chaotic abilities, which is both terrifying and impressive. That's when Shu Wei starts to cry and Feng asks her what's wrong. Yu explains that it's because of the stress caused by the skepticism being spread online about their school getting more spots in the supernova training camp. Feng checks his phone in disbelief and they discover several toxic comments about the school, but then they notice someone defending them in the comments. Jin Mukyu replying to every single person who criticized them. Everyone is surprised that she was willing to defend them, especially since she barely knows some of them. Shu wipes her tears, explaining that she was nervous about embarrassing Ning Feng, but the special training made her feel confident instead of nervous, so she cried out of joy rather than stress. Then Feng tells everyone to train in peace and promises another gift in a few days. When Yu asks what it is, Feng says it's a secret, leaving her pouting. Then we cut to our boy sitting on his bed, thinking about the information he obtained when he absorbed the Demon King's memories last time. In those memories, he discovered something about the evil god. It turns out there are 7 evil gods born from the darkness, who are common beliefs of the monsters in the secret world. But Feng doesn't belong to those 7. Instead, he holds the title of one of the 12 lords, the Mavic Omniscient God. Along with 11 other gods, he led their families to destroy a true evil god. ensuring that dark entities would not invade the world of light. But after eliminating the threat of darkness, the omniscient god became obsessed with studying dark power. The other 11 gods noticed this and fought against him, but he managed to escape and became an evil god. Although the demon realm tells a very different story. According to the demons, once free from dark threats, the gods' dependents gradually lost their sense of crisis and their faith dwindled. Since the gods create families solely to obtain power from faith, this enraged them, so they encouraged their dependents to attack each other, using them as entertainment and sacrifices. Even the demons emerged with the tacit approval of the gods, which supposedly created the secret realms. Only the omniscient god showed no interest in the amount of faith, refusing to participate in that twisted game. But one day war came to his family and, due to a lack of defense, almost all of them were massacred. The furious god demanded that the other gods stop that senseless charade, but he only received insults and mockery. The conflict escalated into a great battle. It took 2 deaths and 6 injuries among the 11 main gods to force the omniscient god to retreat. After that, no one knew where he went. Rumors suggest he entered an unknown dimension, neither of light nor of darkness, and disappeared, fearful of retaliation. The rest of the gods did everything possible to tarnish his image while searching for his whereabouts. After this, he flies towards a portal, thinking that the national access to information from adventurer guilds is very convenient for finding unknown secret realms. Upon entering a dungeon, several monsters attack him, but he easily defeats them with a single swing of his staff, earning a good amount of experience points. He comments that the experience isn't bad and that the boss will probably drop something valuable. The dungeon boss appears as an armored minotaur. Our boy jumps and strikes it on the head with his sword, but the damn bastard's hide was so tough that the sword broke. He looks at his sword and thinks that his level isn't high and his weapons aren't as good as those of 4th or 5th level adventurers, which is why his weapons constantly break. Seeing this, the Minotaur gets cocky and smirks. Man, its face is hilarious. Our boy simply tosses his sword and unleashes his terrifying power. And the Minotaur starts to break out in a cold sweat. In the next moment, he turns it into experience points. But Feng isn't happy. He thinks about how he only leveled up from level 43 to 47, that the monster didn't give much experience, and on top of that, he lost a sword. The only advantage of this battle was that he was able to learn a new skill. So he chose Windblade, which transformed into Dark Erosion Wind. Our boy thinks that the more forbidden spells he has, the better, otherwise he'll always worry about lacking power. But he understands that relying solely on forbidden spells isn't enough. Without proper weapons and equipment, he can't defeat bosses, let alone gods. He decides to head to the nearest city for new weapons. In the shop, a saleswoman approaches him, showing him the 7 legendary quality longswords available. Feng asks if there are only 7, but says it doesn't matter, he'll take all 4. The saleswoman thinks, who is this guy? He looks so young, and yet he has the supreme black card from the trade center and casually buys all the orange quality swords at once. She remembers that she even showed him the highest level one, the Celestial Vault, which has the highest attributes among all the swords, and he didn't even blink as if it were some low-level item. She then goes to her colleague for help, but her colleague tells her she's busy with an important customer and can't talk right now. The purchase of that sword apparently caused a problem, because some young master from a big family wanted it and had come to buy it personally. His men ask why they are giving priority to Feng, when they both have the black card. The manager thinks that if a conflict breaks out, she will definitely lose her job. That young master walks in, like the video and help your boy Macedo create more quality content for you guys